Welcome to this week's Ultra Sim Racing. I am Miles Hasselwitz, and we've got another great week of sim racing. We're going to throw it down to Matt Holt and Jeremy Sodorff as they cover all the action.
Thanks, Miles, and welcome everyone back. This is the 10th round of the Ultra Sim Series and final round. So we'll be crowning a champion tonight. And exciting times. We have a really interesting course. It is about twice the length of our normal races and has a bunch of new trails on it that they've never seen before. Not to mention, it was a no pre-run race. So they were able to fly around and walk the course 1 hour before the race, but that's all they know.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I was doing some notes earlier. This is the 10th race, as you mentioned, coming into this racing series. They did get 4 drops, which was huge. Again, for guys who were able to miss something or had something come up. I know we had some racers that have other jobs where they do racing to monster trucks, a little variety. This is at Johnson Valley, which is always fun. Caleb was chatting over there. He goes, yeah, should have recognized the short course area. Just seeing the kind of looks kind of like that Johnson Valley-esque at King of Hammers. New trails, not being able to walk the course. It's very interesting to see how that comes into play with, obviously you want to know your car and know it handles as good as possible, but not having days, weeks, even months to pre-run can definitely change things. So definitely going to make a big statement tonight. We'll see how that shakes out for some of the drivers.
Oh, for sure. It's going to be definitely a wild card of an event. And our number 2 in the points right now, Bailey Cole, is off the line for his qualifying run.
And how many racers will we have in this series tonight?
Looks like at the moment we have 13 racers tonight. So like the field has dwindled quite a bit. We started out with, I believe, 39, and we're down to the final 13 who are in it for the long haul.
And do you think
make it nice and clean up through that chunky Bronco spot?
why do you think that is?
Well, so as we mentioned before, this is a simulator, not a game, and simulators, unlike games, are not supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be hard and realistic. So there's just a really high burnout rate, which is to be expected, because most people, when they hop on their sim at the end of the night, they just want to go have fun and do something that they can practice and perfect. You can get good at this, but there's definitely no perfecting it. As you can see, Bailey, who spends a lot of time doing this, is kind of having a few bobbles right there. There's just so many variables with all the rocks and terrain, and it's just infinitely changing and complex.
Yeah, no, I kind of feel the same way about golf. You can keep playing, and no matter how good you get, you're still not going to be the best. And any given day, you could definitely not end well. So definitely a lot of fun.
Exactly, that's a great comparison as to what this is similar to golf. It's it's a lot of mental game too, of just how much your head's in it, what else you're thinking about, stuff like that.
Appreciate all of our YouTube subscribers tuning in. What's up, Roy? What's up, Thomas? Zekawani, what's up? Got some regulars jumping in there in the chat. I always like to see that. You love that good Johnson Valley there.
And looks like we have Waffles on course as well. That's our current points leader. He has 169 points to Bailey in second place with 162 points. So pretty close racing. Tie for the top 3 between, or for the top 2 and 3 are tied with 162 points. And then going back to Lauren Starr with 156 points. So a win tonight, especially if you win qualifying, because that gets you some bonus points, that could definitely change the order of things.
And what's the award for bonus points for qualifying?
Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's 5 points for first place, and then I want to say 3 points for second and 1 for third.
Okay.
So it's kind of a controversial topic. Some people like it, some people don't. It's because it can, if you have a really fast guy, they can kind of really run away with it if they're winning qualifying and winning every race. They sort of get out of this untouchable zone.
And how many points are you getting awarded if you win the race?
15 points for winning, and then it trickles back from there.
By one number increments.
Right.
Okay.
And only the top 10 receive points.
Okay. So again, you could possibly walk away with 20 points per race if you're qualifying well and winning.
And that has happened. Definitely can be done.
Yeah, that's the points up to the 10th place is kind of handy. That way it kind of gives you, even if you're not finishing well, you're still finishing and getting some points on the board. That makes a huge deal.
Yeah, and we'll probably revamp the point system a little bit, because I think that has a little bit to do with the dropout factor we're having. Is when people have raced a few races and they don't have any points on the board, or their points are in the single digits, and then other people are well on their way to 50 plus points, it gets a little discouraging. But that's just part of the reality of it too. It's hard. If you want to get in and do this, you got to fully commit to it. Practice, pre-run, tune. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately that's kind of reality sometimes. You show up and you got your trailer and your buggy and one or two buddies to help you, and you got a spare tire, maybe two spare tires, and you got some gas cans, and then you're next to a big race team that may have two or three semi trailers full of spare parts and equipment, and they have their pre-running car, the backup car, the regular car, and then they have 40 to 60 guys for each pit, and spare tires, spare motors, spare transmissions, and they're all lined up at every pit ready to go. So I mean, again, that's kind of the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, and I feel like that's kind of reality, as it shakes out. Again, some guys end up with a big lead at, halfway through the season. And again, those same guys can lose to a $2 bolt just like you can. So it's kind of, the desert is the great equalizer,
Definitely on here, it's so easy to make a mistake in the desert that'll just yard sale your car, and then you have to take a trail repair out there because you can't limp it back to a pit area, and it's honestly where most of my mistakes happened, was out in the desert.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Why are we going backwards? Oh, I see. Oh, and Lauren McIntosh, he was really fast in the last race. He's taking a little tumble down the qualifying hill. Hopefully he can get back on course. Looks like he has his ultra bump cranked back up to 1,151 horse tonight. And I talked to him after the race at Glen Helen, and he said he did turn the horsepower down for fuel economy reasons, because he would have had to stop for fuel, I think, 4 times with this horsepower, but turning it down, he got that down to 2 fuel stops.
Yeah, again, you wouldn't think turning the horsepower down would ever be something a guy would do, but when you show up and they're obviously putting things, just going out there, going full tilt in the rocks, you can break some stuff. I've seen Shannon Campbell do it before. With throttle control, his new car he just built, he finished it for Hammers last year, took it out, and it was just the throttle response was so immediate. He said he was having problems in the rocks. It was almost leaping like a leapfrog. And he said, I need a little bit more lag in the rocks, just because he said the response is so immediate. He said, I was having some issues. They went and tuned it and kind of detuned it a little bit just to have a little bit better throttle control in the rocks.
Yeah, I see how that could be very beneficial. It's one of our new vehicles that came out by Mike Knight. It's Casey Curry's Trophy Jeep. When you put that thing in 4 low, the throttle's like a toggle switch, and you'll spin the tires so fast or pull the front end up that it's kind of a handful to drive. To where if that throttle was detuned a little bit, that could be very beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all new qualifying course too. These guys, they were able to pre-run the qualifying course this week, but they just learned what the race course was about an hour ago.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, they love it.
I love seeing when guys, don't get a chance to pre-run to see who goes out there and sends it.
Yeah, I popped into the Discord earlier, right after the course was released, and I couldn't even get a word in edgewise with everybody going, "Oh my God, this just keeps going, and it's getting worse, and it's oh my," and because they were just flying around it, scoping it out, and a couple people were like, "Well, it looks like I'm just trail wheeling tonight. This isn't racing. I'm just gonna try to keep the car alive. It's so long and so gnarly." Got SVT Texan coming in for a finish with a 5 minute 25 seconds. That should be a pretty solid time. Looks like Bailey Cole had a 12 minute 34 seconds with one trail repair in there, so unfortunate event for
Ouch.
Bailey. Waffles with a 6:17. And then Lauren got him by a minute with a 5:17. So that 5:25 Texan just put down there, that could be a second place spot so far. A couple drivers still to go. We have LAPC with that nice green UFO running old school BFG crawlers. And then on server 2 is his good buddy Eric and teammate. And these guys are fellow promoters, kind of like us. They're trying to get some racing series started, including short course and some desert stuff. And we're excited for that. That's going to be a breath of fresh air to these guys who've been racing Ultra 4 all summer and get to go out and blow off some steam in a trophy truck or a short course vehicle.
Heck yeah. Again, desert racing's always pretty awesome. I get to watch it occasionally.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the desert racing. We've been doing some testing, and some of the vehicles are pretty cool looking, but very difficult to drive. And then some of the other ones are a little more basic looking, but a lot of fun to drive. So it's going to appeal to a wide variety of people, I think.
Yeah, desert racing's a lot of fun. Again, a little more high speed section, getting out there, feeling the truck, feeling the buggy. Really making it. Having a lot of fun with it, and just getting out there and getting some seat time. I'm sure is a really good time.
Oh yeah, especially if you pop in that first person view and you start catching someone in the dust, you feel like you're really there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Rob Reno coming down the launch pad. Normally we go up that in our qualifying run, but now we're coming down it. So this would be kind of comparable to Resolution. So just down. So they're dropping into Rob Reno, and that green UFO is dropping into is the backdoor canyon, but just above the waterfall, they're going to bank a right and cut out of it. I really love this new UFO. Tom at RCC recently completely revamped it from the ground up. I don't think he kept anything from his old version of the mod, and it's a beautiful work of art. It drives a lot more realistic than the old one. The old one was kind of that car that had a little too much power, a little too durable, to where it was just sort of the superhero car. You go out and just bash everything through. This one, you got to pick your lines a little better.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, that reality could bite you really hard, really fast, and unfortunately, at least when you least expect it.
Right. Big sand. That was a nice line by LAPC. Showing some good control. These guys are all the way down in La Paz, I believe, so that there has to travel through a lot of wire to get here. And that's going to be, oh, it looks like, unfortunately, he was carrying a good pace, but 2 trail repairs is going to put him in with the 2136. That's going to hurt. Let's go over and take a look at the official live results. So they haven't been racked yet, but the times are posted with the exception of a few. So still inputting some times, and then they will sort them, and we'll see who got the top spot and the points.
I like that UFO looking car there sitting there, and again, all the chassis, how realistic they are compared to, an actual UFO car. It's just incredible. Whether it be a Miller chassis or I'm trying to think of all the chassis. I know there's a handful of different guys out there. UFO being one of the more iconic ones you see, just because it's the IFS front, straight axle rear, single seat, and being single seat, something we're seeing a lot more at the big races. I think it's kind of edgy, kind of crazy to do that single seat, just because if you do get broke down, you're trying to do it by yourself, and that makes for a long day. If you're going to have any repairs, serious repairs, that's a lot of work, a lot of stress, both mentally and emotionally, physically to do by yourself. Hopping out and changing a tire is probably not the biggest deal in the world, but it is a lot of work to do by yourself. But we've seen guys do it. Luckily the footage at Hammers is incredible. Shout out to all the production crew guys out there. Watching that Healy footage. As their guys are changing tires by themselves. Bananas to me, and how fast they can get it done too is incredible.
Yeah, they have it down to an art and science to where it's just a checklist basically. You just go through systematically and get it done. So I have a little video clip I can play that's going to preview some of the new trails we have. That these are trails that the guys have been able to pre-run them, but no one has actually. Well, they pre-ran them, but they didn't know which direction the trail was going to be going, I should say. And this is a section that we call Send It Hill, and we're going to show it here in Mike's Trophy Jeep. Pretty much a kind of a bumpy hill climb, and you can send it about as far as you want over the top, but good luck keeping it flat and catching the landing right. And then it goes out into a little desert section with some split lanes where the shortest lane is the bumpiest, and then the farther out you go, the smoother it gets.
Was that new trophy Jeep?
Yeah, that's the Casey Curry's Trophy Jeep.
That's kind of again the same thing, kind of very similar, iconic vehicle.
Yeah, I love driving it. It's what I use to test all of the courses, and just because so far it's very, very capable in the desert, but a little bit of a handful in the rocks, to where it definitely takes an experienced driver to get it through the rock sections. But it's perfect for testing the rock sections to make sure they're doable. And this is where we're coming into a new rock field that the guys haven't really raced before, so they had to go in and kind of pick their lines and see what the better options are, because usually we like to leave a couple options here and there where people can, if one guy gets hung up, you can make a pass on them or something like that, but one of them's usually always faster than the other.
Yeah, and again, like hammers, sometimes you get one guy stuck and you are stuck, period. There's no getting around it, no above it, below it, beside it. You are just stuck. And then you got one car turns into two or three, and then you got 10 or 12 guys yelling again. Like Chocolate Thunder this year was just total pandemonium. But from a spectator standpoint, it was very, very, very fun to watch. From a racer standpoint, I'm sure it was very frustrating. You're sitting there waiting on guys trying to get out of the way, trying to get stuff done. And, it's just very discouraging, very frustrating.
Yeah, for sure. Like that turkey claw traffic jam they had last year, I would have been losing my mind. Hats off to the composure of those guys that just kind of fell in line and they're like, we're not going to make it worse by trying to pass someone and then braking or something. And that's probably more restraint than I have.
Yeah, again, watching, we were in remote pit 1. I was doing broadcasting out there, and before I had to head to the booth, and just watching those guys, I felt so bad for them. Being a racer myself, I felt horrible. But at the same time, I also was, it was kind of fun to watch all these guys trying to get through, and everybody trying to make passes, and guys were hopping out and helping, and it was great to see the teamwork. But I'm sure it was, my heart very heartbreaking for to being a fellow racer, just watching some of that stuff. But and we were kind of curious why they weren't ready, and so we saw that on the live feed. We were able to get the live feed up. Once we saw that, we were like, okay, this is kind of crazy. And then we knew they'd, once they got kind of get everything unwedged, we knew they'd be trickling in pretty quick. So
yeah. And I saw a video of a couple guys who have passed like 20 cars, just by picking a line through there. And
oh yeah, there were some guys that were bumping through there, pretty good clip.
But you're rolling the dice. That's a tough one because you roll, you try to take one of those high lines and you roll into someone else's vehicle. I'd feel terrible. Like maybe I'm not a true race car driver in the sense that I really would hate to take someone out of the race.
Yeah,
that'd be hard on me, to where if I knew I did something that should have been avoided and ruined someone else's car.
Yeah, and you'd hate to do that, especially a fellow competitor, somebody that's a friend of yours, or somebody that's helped you out a lot through the series and stuff. So you'd hate to see that, but at the same time, it's kind of part of the game. I think most guys understand that. Most guys understand the levitation of that situation, and just
yeah,
everybody's trying to do the best they can.
Yeah, exactly. And Ultra 4 is a good one too, because it's a pretty small community in the sense that pretty much everybody knows everybody, and if you don't, you'll probably will before too long.
And it takes you long to figure out who's who pretty quick, if you don't know. Yeah, again, there's a lot of guys out there that are pretty big gunslingers. They're just going for the gusto and just really really jumping in and trying to do the best they can, and kind of hurl into that unknown, and that's kind of what the name of the game is, just trying to get that figured out and really really try to make it happen. So sometimes it works, sometimes it does not.
Yeah, and I've heard some stories about that where you have to be careful where you pull off to change a tire sometimes, where there was an incident where one of the more famous racers pulled off to change a tire, but they happened to pull off in kind of a blind crest area where you can kind of take a little shortcut around a corner, but it's a blind send it, and someone did, and they were right there changing their tire on the other side of it.
Yeah, that would not surprise me at all. Again, you just see, and everybody's looking for that, very best, the very best mechanical advantage possible. So, seeing that is something that I think a lot of people are, that is not something that surprises me at all. Everybody's trying to help get that little bit of edge, get that little bit, be that little fast, shave something here, here and there. So definitely plays a huge role in trying to, prove that course. And there are VCPs, everybody tries to hit those virtual checkpoints, but, you want to be as quick as possible, and the quickest possible routes between two straight lines. So, you want to curve and be a little as creative as possible. And if you could pick a smoother line, that's kind of the whole goal. We are racing, but we're all here to win. So,
Yeah.
you want to be as good as possible in that avenue, but at the same time, you also don't want to wad up your car or, worst case scenario, hurt somebody else.
Yeah, and on a race course that has that many corners out in uncharted territory, there's a lot of opportunity to save, 50 feet here, 10 feet there, and you do that a couple hundred times, it adds up.
Yeah, no. Again, last year me and Ian Johnson were talking a little bit in the media tent, and about Ian, Andy Hall was there, and a couple of the people, and we were all just saying that it's hard to calculate how much time you can save in some ways, and the reason why is if you skip some really hard rocks and you're able to miss that section, let's say, it's hard to kind of forecast how much time you're going to save because you might have broken an axle or a tire or a knuckle, and you might have ended your whole day there. So, even though you missed that section or bypassed it or went around some harder stuff, that could have taken you out from the whole entire race.
Yeah, for sure. And something that I did on here, a lot of people they always mention it to me when it happens to them, but I'll go out and in an area where I know people are going to be tempted to cut the course, I'll put some extra rocks and things like that out there to
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll stick one right in the middle of the sagebrush, and be like,
Yeah.
so if it's a really tempting spot where I know someone's going to want to take the candy, because our rule is you have to keep 2 tires on the road. So you can see these printed roads on the map. Those are called decal.
Yeah.
They're called decal roads. You're supposed to keep 2 tires on that at all times. And if you go off course, you're supposed to take the shortest path back to it. So it looks like we have server 1 and server 2 staged. We have our final results of qualifying. Dustin Girding takes the top spot and some extra points, which he was the one tied for second place. So that's going to give him a little advantage. He had a 455. Going back to Rob Reno, came in with a 458. And then down to Driver Tech with a 501. And then Lorne Star, 517. SVT Texan 525, Waffles 617, Bailey Cole 1234, LAPC 2136, and Slinky Sam had a 612. I don't know why he's just. Oh, that's in server 2. Okay. Yeah, so Slinky Sam takes the pole in server 2 with a 612. And then back to 13 minutes and so on. Looks like those guys took some repairs. And our friends from Portugal who ran earlier today, they had a 604 and a 643, and their race times are already done. So we get a little preview of 3 hours and 16 minutes and 2 hours and 39 minutes. So, wow.
You said that Slinky Sam was in the second server, and it was fast enough to bump up into the first server?
No, so I was just not reading the times right. He took the pole in server 2 with 612. So we'll cut back over to the feed on server 2. Yeah, exciting times tonight. Everybody's been, really working hard this season to pre-run and practice for every race, and I think they're all ready to take a little break because 10 races in a row. It's been a lot of work for these guys.
So I just have one question. If they win, do they get a pizza party? That's the kind of priority,
Well, they get a little more than a pizza party. They get to go out to Dave Cole's compound out of Johnson Valley for the weekend and go drive some cars around and hang out at his shop and enjoy the amenities and all the cool stuff they have out there.
Yeah, no, it's a wild time. Again, King of Hammers is just insane, And Dave is like he's the greatest tour guide in the history of the world when it comes to King of Hammers, or Johnson Valley. He can literally show you every square inch of that. It's so funny when we have him in the booth and he's talking. It's like having a historian with us in the booth. Just, you can ask him any question. he can see a silhouette somewhere and know exactly where that racer's at, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, and then if anyone knows it close to as good as Dave, it's Bailey Cole right here in that yellow car, and
Yeah,
he'll
again.
he'll be out there giving what they call an ultra tour.
Oh yeah. Again, Bailey also, growing up out there, I'm sure he knows it, like the back of his hand as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, riding a car with him is kind of scary sometimes because he'll go over something. You're like, is there another side to this? And yep, there's something over there.
Yeah.
All right, we're about to 6 o'clock. The first racer's off the line. Rob Reno and Dustin Girding. Dustin's going to get the whole shot in that bomber, but Rob has the inside coming in this first corner. Dustin's going to carry a lot of good speed around the outside, and they are off into the desert. Good luck, gentlemen.
Yeah, and you get those big tents and all the Hammertown Village there at Johnson Valley.
Oh yeah, we got the announcers booth right there, the VIP booth over there. It's we did the best we could with what we had. So Driver Tech and Lauren off the line. Driver Tech in that nice stable truggy, Lauren with all that horsepower. Like Lauren might get him on the inside. Looks like he's going to close the door on Driver, and Driver's going to be eating dust going out in the desert.
Yeah, again, depending on what weather. I've been out at Johnson Valley when it has been like I have a chipped ice off of my truck because the water and condensation froze on the side of the truck the night before. Like it's had icicles hanging off of it because it was so cold. I've been out there when it's pouring down rain, and I've been out there when it is a sauna and it is a dust bowl. So you can have literally all 4 seasons out there during a King of Hammers event.
Oh, for sure. We got really lucky last year. It was just the most beautiful weather we had experienced in a long time. And it was wonderful.
And then you can always watch the Class 11 guys, which are just insane,
Yeah. And the rain was kind of an inconvenience to some people setting up their camps at times. But we had very little dust. I think it wasn't even until after the desert race that there was even any dust really in Hammertown.
Yeah, no.
Final row off the line in server 1.
Yeah, having a little bit of dust kind of keeps that. Having a little bit of rain come in kind of keeps the dust down. And that's something most racers are gladly willing to trade off. Get a couple of days of rain or, a good rain one day to help kind of keep the dust down is something most racers will gladly trade off for.
Absolutely. It was premium conditions.
Off-Road Racer on the YouTube channel. Appreciate all our YouTube fans here. Channel saying, boogie, 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 let's go racing.
Yeah, buddy.
Must be a NASCAR fan. I have some friends that were... I have some friends that were at a NASCAR race last week, I think, down in Alabama, Tennessee.
Nice.
Had a bunch of buddies at a NASCAR race last weekend. They were Snapchatting me, hanging out, having a good time.
I love me some NASCAR. I don't watch it very much, but every once in a while I'll go on iRacing and race on there. And oh man, I never knew how much fun turning left could be.
Yeah. Again, if you're in a simulator, I think that would probably be a really awesome time.
Oh, it's amazing. And iRacing has done such a good job of all the physics where the way that you feel the air coming off the car in front of you and everything is just amazing. And the drafting it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. Again, the feeling there is just so intense. It's about as close as you get without actually being in the car.
Yeah. And what brought me to iRacing was the short course racing, and did that for a lot of years, and we were pretty successful with it, but kind of moved on to this because my passion's always been more rock crawling, desert racing, Ultra 4, and moved over here and always thought that short course racing would be sort of obsolete or not applicable on BeamNG until recently. Some people developed a vehicle and some new ground models that make short course racing a lot of fun on here, and we're actually going to start kicking off some of that here pretty soon. We already have some 4 servers loaded up with different short course tracks on them.
And is that going to be more of a buggy, or is that going to be more of a Pro 2, Pro 4?
More Pro 2, Pro 4. I have a feeling there will be buggy because we have buggies. They're more desert buggies, but I'm sure that they'll be tuned and modified to work for it eventually.
Yeah, I mean, being a guy that has a rock bouncer, I would love to get my rock bouncer out on a short course and just go out there and just go for a good rip. But
Oh yeah, let it eat.
but I don't know if I could pass up a chance at a Pro 4 ride.
Oh man, yeah, I can imagine one of those things must be. If you ever got to drive one, it would probably be the biggest handful you've ever driven, and also a ton of fun at the same time.
Yeah, I'm sure. Keep that just kind of keep that thing going straight. Probably it takes everything you have. Just kind of keep it going the right way.
Well, I think they're kind of like a Formula One car in the sense that you can't halfway drive them. You have to be like fully driving it to get it to work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think gonna be full tilt. Ripping through the corners.
Yeah.
And literally looking up the side window. Some of those guys are looking up the side windows. They're drifting around corners at 60 mile an hour.
Oh, for sure. And that's one of the things that was difficult for me with the Pro 2s on iRacing, because it's first person view only. Ooh, and Slinky Sam's gonna take a big tumble in the sand dunes. Looks like he's still going though. The Pro 2s in the first person view, you're just looking out the windshield but driving sideways the whole time. So
oh yeah.
So the guys with VR would always excel at that because they could turn their head and look out the passenger window.
I'm sure. I can totally see. Does he have a teal and pink Red Bull logo on the side?
That says maybe the colors are just acting weird on that one, but that's a Dead Bull.
Okay.
It's the bull. If you look closely, the bull's upside down.
Yeah.
And it says Dead Bull. That was the guy who built the Ultra Bump, that vehicle. That was one of the skins he released it with.
Heck yeah.
Looks like a good battle going on with Lauren Star and Driver Tech still. Driver Tech got around Lauren and is going to make him eat his dust now. This sand out here, if you look at the screen, you can kind of see their tires sinking into the sand quite a bit. That would kind of give you the impression that it gives you grip on the sidewalls of the tire, but it doesn't. It drives a lot more comparable to ice than sand.
Yeah. And you can see kind of the way the truck moved, that kind of mimicked that too.
Yeah, it's very difficult. You're usually feathering the throttle and doing a lot of steering inputs just to go straight. And it looks like Rob Reno is out in physical lead on server 1 with Dustin Girding right behind him coming into the short course. And then right behind them, Driver Tech and Lauren, and then Waffles and Bailey. And then SVT and LAPC are all hanging pretty close to each other still, considering how big of an area they're covering.
Yeah. And again, who is coming in the lead coming into this race?
So the current points leader is Waffles,
Okay.
who looks like he is in physical 4th right now.
And how many points did he have coming into this race?
He had 169 points, and then it was 2nd and 3rd were tied with 162.
And was he going to be able to get? Can you drop the last race, being this is the finals? Does that count as one of your drops if you have a poor finals?
Yes, you can drop any one of the 10 races.
Okay. And you said Waffles was at what?
169 was what Waffles was sitting at. He didn't qualify well tonight, so that's where he's still at. But Dustin Girding was tied with Bailey in 2nd, 3rd place. And he won qualifying, so he's going to get him some bonus points, give him a little bump, and then if he can bring home a good finish tonight, that'll help him move up for sure. There's a little smoke coming out of Driver Tech's car. Hopefully that's just on our desync and not actual. Looks like he's making up a little ground on Lauren. I wonder if Lauren took some damage or if he's just realizing that it's a long race and settling into his pace.
Yeah.
Waffles is going to be the 4th out of the short course, back into the desert. Bailey right behind him. No one stopping at the pits. You can see the pit mats down there. If you stop on one of those pit mats, your repair will be significantly less than if you try to repair out in the field.
Yeah. Again, that's the difference between 3 minutes and 8 minutes. 3 minutes for the pit and 8 minutes for a trip. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And SVT is going to get biked up on that berm, take a rollover. He's going to do a node grab recovery where you press control and you can actually grab your cage like a winch and pull it back over. And that will not cost him any time other than the amount of time it took him to do that. And it's going to give LAPC a little bit of breathing room and a whole lot of dust coming back to SVT. Bailey's just starting up this hill here that this is what we made for Johnson Valley last year. So if you drove the Sims in the VIP booth, this is the trail that you would have ran. Up until this point right here, they're branching off to the right on one of Slinky Sam's creations. Very steep. This is one of those areas, if you roll, you're probably not going to stop until you get down there pretty far.
Which is just it takes such a beating, there's so much damage to the car, it's not really recognizable at that point.
Yeah, as you can see on server too, they're missing a wheel, but the car's still going. That's a little bit of that desync.
Yeah, I did notice that. I did notice that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm juggling 2 computers here. I have one of them right in front of me and the other one's 90 degrees to the right, so I usually try to stay on top of resetting those so we don't see a car with no tires cruising through the desert.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen cars race through the desert with no tires, after taking just an absolute thrashing, through the rocks.
Yeah, and some of these guys are driving without a tire, but for the most part, when that happens, it's desync because they fall off pretty easy on our view. Oh man, no mercy. Slinky Sam sending him right back down this super steep hill after they climb up that.
Yeah, that's brutal. The kind of damage your car's taking there is just, basically just getting wrecked.
Oh no. Oh, he's gonna make it out the top. That was a lot of commitment it takes to get up these steep hills. And this hill here is absolutely disastrous at the bottom because it's a long, steep, loose hill, and then at the bottom you drop off an even steeper little ledge into a sharp corner. We'll see how APC navigates this UFO. Rear engine should be pretty conducive to good braking. Nice and easy. Yeah, he knows it's there. Yeah, perfect.
And again, talking about that rear engine, that has a great way to kind of get that balance out. Trying to get the weights, separated, and trying to make that front to back, side to side. That's super, super huge. When you're out ripping through the desert, hitting those big bumps.
For sure. And then being center mounted in the car helps a lot too. Remember hearing Shannon Campbell explain the theory behind that, where if you're sitting on the edge of a car or on the side of a car, you're going up and down. If you're sitting in the middle, you're just rocking side to side.
Yeah. And again, you want to kind of, help keep that car as balanced as possible. And that way, again, I always look at it as jumps. When you're hitting jumps, hitting some whoops, hitting, whatever, as you're flying off of those, having that car be balanced is crucial.
Definitely. Yeah, I bet all of these guys put their cars on scales when they're bolting spare parts and stuff on them to make sure, like, okay, we're a little light on this side. Let's put this spare drive shaft over here,
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely want to scale them out. Off-Road Ricer on the YouTube channel was saying, that hill looks a tad bit scary. Yeah, I'm sure in a real car, that definitely gives you a very big pucker factor. It's dialed all the way up to 11. Just look at the guys ripping up the hill. Just, you just don't want to go there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. we have a trail like that up where I'm at in the Pacific Northwest, and it's called Otter Chute, and it's really comparable to that one we just watched, that UFO go down, where it's pretty steep and slick, and then at the bottom it drops off really steep into kind of a dry creek, and there's 2 trees at the very bottom before it drops off. You have to shoot kind of like a field goal, and it's
Yeah.
Ooh, we got Waffles on his lid. At least he's blocking the trail so no one can get around him.
It looks like he's trying to winch up there.
Yeah, so what he was just doing was a node grab recovery to correct the vehicle, which is race legal. You're just not allowed to use it for forward progression. And he's going to fall off the ledge, and that's going to let Lauren get by him. Good close racing, though, up here in River 1 right now.
Yeah, that stinks. He wasn't able to get through there.
Yeah, so Waffles' car, this one we call Stacy's mom, because it's got it going on. It's just it's a great car, but it has that giant fuel cell, and which I bet is full for this race, and that spare tire way back there to make it float through the desert, more like a desert car. But when you get on those really steep climbs, it can be a handful.
Yeah, I liked you said it's called Stacy's mom because it's got it going on.
Oh yeah,
what a great name for a race car! What a great name for a race car!
Yeah, when Tom first released that one, he just called it Unlimited, a 4400 car, and that wasn't good enough, so we named it for him.
Yeah, I like it. The internet has a great time making names up for stuff.
Heck yeah. Oh man, they're going through this section. When I first started rock crawling on Beam, I found this section right here. That was just a blast to crawl through with the Jesse Haynes rear steer buggy. But these guys doing Ultra 4 cars, and as you can see, Waffles couldn't make the corner, so he just decided to go down and then back through. We'll see if APC does the same thing here in that UFO with pretty limited turning radius.
Yeah.
No, he's going to get it done. I'm guessing Waffles did a little bit of a pirouette and roll into there and didn't have a choice.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was watching there.
This is some chunk. Yeah. This is some vanilla Johnson Valley here. This is the original map. And the game developers did a great job of just making it that Johnson Valley, chunky, gnarly grind, of just working your way through boulder fields. And Waffles is going to take a creative line here, try to make up some ground on Lauren. And that would be
a joke.
That would be a race legal line in this situation for sure. So, in the rock sections, we let the guys get a little bit more creative with their lines, as long as they're not defeating the obstacles by going way off course. And usually, anywhere you see the
define way off course.
Right.
How far off course do you have to be considered way off course?
I would say 2 vehicle lengths would be pushing it, but you could get away with that at times. Anywhere you see those course markers, you're supposed to go between the course markers.
I believe in Ultra 4 rules, you're 100 feet in the desert and 50 feet on the rocks.
That's what I've heard too. And I like that rule, except for in a video game, the trails are designed by someone saying, okay, this is where the trail's at, versus in real life, the trails are developed on, okay, this is really the only place we can go.
Yeah.
You know, so it's you get a little more creative freedom on a video game, so we have to police them just a little bit harder to just to make it fair, because we don't want it to turn into king of the shortcuts and stuff like that.
No.
So.
I totally agree. But at the same time, having those guys that do their homework and know what's going on, and giving those alternate places to go definitely plays a huge role in it. Yeah,
there are always choices within our parameter of where you're allowed to go. There are always a lot of choices. So free running does pay off. And a lot of these guys, even though they didn't know this course, have ran these trails before. So if it clicks in their memory banks of, I've been here before and I remember that left line sucked, they'll be okay. But if they're just, I don't remember this at all, they're gonna have to go through some trial and error. And there's a few lines that look good from the bottom, but once you get in there, you go, I should have went the other way.
Yeah, getting out and exploring, it definitely gives you options later on where you can find what works best for you and pick that course.
Yeah. It looks like Lauren has changed his tires yet again. I think he's ran different tires in every race. He's on to the old school Goodyear MTR.
Yeah.
Tire they don't make anymore, but was pretty legendary in its day, other than it had a soft sidewall, which was its downfall and its greatest strength at the same time.
Yeah, but having those choices is nice. That way you can, choose what works best for everyone.
Yeah, we don't. You don't have to be loyal to any tire manufacturers on here. You can change them every race if you want. You are not allowed to change your vehicle though in the middle of a point series without starting your points over. So,
ooh, that's huge.
Yeah, so if you choose a vehicle, you need to stick with it. We did give these guys the option to change after the very first race, and I think a couple people did, but not very many. They all stuck with what they initially chose. Yeah. Looks like Driver Tech is on a tear, and he was able to get around Rob Reno and Dustin Girding.
I see what it appears to be a lot of trail repairs. I'm very interested to see how many guys actually have trail repairs when this shakes out. Yeah, that's something that
we'll hopefully be able to get some more live tracking and live timing later on. After this series is over, our company will have a little bit of funding, and we will be able to hire some programmers to do some things we haven't been able to figure out yet.
Yeah, more money never hurts anybody.
Right, and it's we don't need this is fairly inexpensive to do, but it does take some capital, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would say everything nowadays takes a little bit of capital.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've been out of a gas station mini mart under $15 in the last year or so. It seems. Yeah. A can of soda and a candy bar, like $12.
That'd be $12.95. You're like, what? Like that used to be 50 cents and 44 cents.
Right.
Yeah.
It almost makes you want to go like Craigslist and start negotiating with it, because it's like,
for real.
Like I know what you paid for this, and it's not that. So.
No, yeah. Can I buy a bulk?
Right. Okay, yeah. Driver Tech looks like he's running clean and smooth. He had an unfortunate issue at the Glen Helen race last week where he got checked up by another car. They had a little bumper to bumper and caused him to get a flat tire. And as you saw in that last race, one trail repair was too many. So.
Yeah.
And the problem was that he tried to limp that flat tire for a while and ended up falling a little too far back to catch up.
Yeah. And again, that's where a lot of these cars live during hammers. When you're deep into the rocks, you live pretty much bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
These guys are absolutely crashing through the rocks. I mean, you can hear that wide open throttle. They're just, literally just bouncing through it.
Yeah. Driver's showing good throttle control though, coming up through that. He's one of those guys that races on a game controller instead of a what do you call it? A steering wheel.
Yeah.
So his game controller throttle doesn't have very much throw, but we can see his throttle inputs and his brake inputs at the bottom right of the screen. And for someone who's not using a gas pedal, he has very good finger control.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, the controller versus steering wheel, with that controller, you do need good finger control. But the steering wheel, you can literally use both hands. You might be using a 16/8 steering wheel, and you have pedals that have a long throw to them. So you can be a little more, majestic with those. Whereas when you only have, 1/4-inch play in a controller, I mean, you got to be really on your game.
Yeah, exactly. And with these cars too, because what a lot of people don't know is that spinning your tires in here doesn't actually heat them up. So you'll find a lot more traction with lower RPMs and not spinning your tires than going full speed.
Okay.
Tire thermal is something that we have talked to the game developers about, and it's on their radar, but they said don't hold your breath. So
Okay.
probably not something we're going to see anytime soon. Dustin Girding coming down that famous Lauren Healy drop.
Yeah, that thing broke the internet 2 years ago.
Yeah, we had to add it in here, something of it. We actually have a real 3D model of it now that will be on the map that we're releasing at King of the Hammers this year.
Yeah, he kind of broke the internet. I think like my entire feed for about 45 minutes with nothing but him launching off that ledge.
Yeah, I remember when I saw it, I was just like, "Holy crap!" And then afterwards, hearing that he didn't even do it on purpose, I'm like, okay, that's even scarier.
Yeah, he was out there getting it. That's for sure. Yeah, he's always been kind of a guy kind of a wild man to get out there and just kind of, just get out there, do what you do best, and just let it all hang out. That's kind of his style.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things about King of the Hammers is it's not. Well, I might be wrong in the sense that I don't believe it's a point race. It might. I think it is the final round of the Ultra 4 series, maybe. So it could be a points race, but for most people are out there just for checkers or wreckers.
It is, and it used to be, they had to qualify at the regular season races to make it to Hammers, but it is such a unique race that it has become this. I had to laugh. A few years ago, I got to meet some people who are friends of friends, and they were influencers, and they're out there at this thing called King of Hammers because they heard it was a big deal, and it made me so happy to know that King of Hammers had become such a big deal that people are coming out there because it's cool, the cool thing to do, because it's become that popular,
Yeah.
When you've broken from just off-road hardcore people to now it's mainstream cool stuff. It definitely makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Looks like Lauren may have taken a wrong turn and went down the wrong course and had to backtrack, and so now he has he's fallen back quite a ways, and which is unfortunate because he's on the pivot spot for a podium position. So he's gonna have to get it in gear, make up some ground now. Oh, and then SVT takes a wrong turn, and Lauren gets back around him. Perfect. These guys These guys are swapping back and forth. Oh, I see. Lauren continued on as if he was going to go to backdoor, but they're on the backdoor bypass ridge right now. And then he's going to let SVT back by. There must have been some kind of an incident or something happened there where Lauren's giving it back to sportsmanship at its best right there. Not a good spot to be dinking around here, though, because any tumble can take you quite a ways in either direction.
Yeah.
Looks like Lauren's having a hard time keeping that front end down.
Yeah. Again, you can see that, kind of backing up and hammering down. Going to bump it over some of those ledges.
Oh, no. Uh-oh. Ooh. Just barely held on to it. Inches from the edge. Oh, man. I'll stop watching you, Lauren. I don't want to make you nervous. And meantime, SVT is checking out. Gonna make a hard left, go down through another one of our new trails that was just released for this race.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the fact that they didn't. Nobody got the chance to pre-run.
Yeah, so they could all come in here and they could pre-run this whole map. The whole environment was open for pre-run, but they didn't know where the race course was or going to be. So they could just kind of go, broad exploration mode and practice obstacles, but they wouldn't know which direction they were going to be ran or if they were at all. So
yeah,
wide open deal. Let's see, we got LAPC just heading out back into the desert. And Waffles, Rob, and is that Bailey? Looks like Bailey has potentially taken over physical lead again. No, Dustin Girding is still, Driver Tech and Dustin are still way out there. Man, these guys are checking out. Looks like Waffles is going through a section that I call the motocross track. It's there's a giant gap right there. It's oh, they go out on a new line here. Yeah, lots and lots of new lines here.
Yeah, again, you can see those guys absolutely just thrashing through the rocks.
Yeah, so our race leaders are currently on lap 3 of 6. And we're going off into a new fence line trail. So this is the infamous fence line trail that Slinky Sam built about a year ago. And it runs the length of this ridge over here. And this is a new addition to it. This beginning part, it used to start down here a little farther. And it is full of nasty, nasty rocks that pop your tires. And if you roll down the hill and go on the other side of that fence, you have to try to figure out a way to get back over the fence, and it's not easy.
Yeah, those rocks do look pretty nasty. Yeah, just watch these guys rip through there. I'm surprised you don't see more guys dragging it flat. Those tires can get sliced through pretty quick. You got that many jagged rocks, especially if you're crawling it, you're air down, probably not too much of an issue. But when you're moving at this pace, that's an entirely different animal.
Oh no, Waffles! Oh no, Waffles! Oh, he's gonna get it back up there. Nice job. And looks like Dustin's there caught up with Driver Tech, nipping at physical first. Roll over for Driver Tech. He's gonna do a node grab recovery, winch himself back over. That might be oh no! Contact. Driver didn't see him, backed up right into Dustin, who just took over physical first.
Ugh.
Hopefully we didn't take any damage there. That'd be unfortunate. Finally get the lead back, but then have a flat tire. And look at that. There's some really fast guys right in this whole screen right here. It's anybody's race at this point, depending on trail repairs. Unfortunate for Lauren, he was running really good up front there, but looks like he's falling back a ways. Wonder if he's in the pits taking fuel right now. That'd be my guess. That big old 1150 horsepower. She's thirsty.
I was watching some of them on the YouTube. Do you see the cars really move temperature at all?
Yes. So if you watch the temperatures on the bottom right, right now we're on Lauren's vehicle, and you'll see his temperatures fluctuating quite a bit. And his fuel gauge probably fluctuates more than anybody else.
And that's just because it's miles per gallon.
Yeah. His smiles per gallon are a little heavier than everybody else's.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Go through and fix all this desync so they look like cars again. Oh, so pretty big surprise for these guys, and I'm kind of wondering if this played a role in their tuning at all. Is something new to our racing is the salt flats.
Yeah, I've always wanted to head out to the salt flats and just check it out, just to get out there and look at it.
So this is lap 3. Maybe they don't go out there in lap 3, but one of these laps they'll be going out to where it's basically rev limiter for a really uncomfortable amount of time, to where you have to actually back off the throttle, or you'll cook your car. Yeah,
again, talking about the temperature we just mentioned, getting out there and pushing that hard, you can either smoke a motor or you're going to watch your fuel level drop pretty quick because you're out there just ripping that hard.
Yeah. Yeah, we see Dustin working the gas and the brake, try to keep that bomber straight through these big whoops. Oh, so this isn't the lap where they go out in the desert, but this is the lap where they go up into a new rock section. This is the Slinky Sam's Sierra Rock Crawlers little canyon that he made. It's has a nice little ledge right here. Kind of reminds me of, I think, sledgehammer, maybe something like that. Little undercut ledge you got to get around, and then after that's pretty much an impossible pinch that you have to kind of take a right side to. Maybe drivers figured out how to crawl through it, but I sure couldn't get the trophy Jeep through there. I had to take the high right line. It's like no one going for that high right line. Interesting. Bailey's going to get around both these guys, maybe. Oh, Bailey's going to get up there. He's going to avoid that big hole that Dustin's caught in and make the pass. Nice work. No shortage of holes, though, as you go up through here.
Oh, yeah.
And driver tech is ablaze, so we'll go fix that.
Yeah, it's never a good thing when you see your car on fire.
Yeah, unfortunately, that particular vehicle's fuel tank location experiences what we call clipping, where the rocks can actually clip through the bars that were in real life they would not, but in the game they're able to go through the bars, and it causes the fuel tank to rupture.
Yeah.
Looks like Waffles made short work of it. And Stacy's mom, I saw him pre-running this earlier. Even though he didn't know this was part of the race course. If you see a new trail out there, you got to assume that it is.
Yeah.
But he might be having some issues, or let's see if he's taking fuel. No,
yeah.
what are you doing, Waffles? Like Waffles back moving. Yeah, pretty cool little spot Sam made right there. Definitely technical rock crawling spot.
Oh, very technical.
Then this climb right here is no joke. It's really hard to keep that front end from getting tossed over to the left. But Waffles makes short work of it. That's probably why he's in the points lead right now. Who else is back there? Rob Reno working his way through in that UFO.
Definitely look like they're quite, you definitely get hung up between there really, really easily.
Yeah, technical pinch spots like this are always frustrating under race conditions because in a trail session or practice, you just walk right through these. But it seems like in the race, they always just give you fits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. And the harder you push up in there, the more it's going to just wedge up the car up in there, and then you're just, things are going.
Yeah. It's like Dustin and Bailey and Driver all checked out pretty good on the rest of the pack while they were hung up in those rocks. They made up some time in this desert sand section.
And we're on the third lap of 6, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then six laps is what we're doing this evening. How many laps typically do you guys do here?
Usually our Johnson Valley configurations are a 3-lap race. And they take about 45 minutes or so for the fast guys to cross the line. We're kind of predicting that maybe an hour and a half is when we're going to see the leaders cross.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't look good.
Yeah, it looked like Bailey had a little tie rod issue, but I think that's just on our screen. His car was driving pretty straight to where if that was an actual damage, he'd be having trouble. I see driver tech looks like he lost an A-arm on our screen too. You see that front tire flopping around, but I have a feeling it's just a visual damage, which is unfortunate due to the third-party multiplayer platform and everything we have to do to get this race going. You don't quite get a one-to-one playback of what they're actually doing or seeing, but it's a pretty close likeness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Driver Tech got back physical lead, but Bailey's right there.
Yeah, trust me. It's it's incredible how fast these guys can get there.
We'll see how he takes backdoor here. We'll see if Bailey's going to try to make a pass on the left line. I bet he does with that solid axle car. Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to shoot it straight up the middle. Holy cow.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Watching these guys at backdoor is just, awesome.
Oh, yeah. Bailey gets the pass done. And physical lead change again.
Yeah.
And Dustin right there, keeping him honest.
And I almost wore my backdoor shootout shirt tonight, just,
nice.
Just to show love. And I ended up wearing the birthday bash from Badlands earlier this year. So
yeah, I can't go wrong with that either.
Yeah, again, we like going out and seeing some of the awesome merch they have at the different Ultra 4 races. Badlands and Attica, Indiana this year was great. Everybody loves going to Badlands, and so that's always a good time. Like I said, it's local for me. I'm Illinois, so being Missouri is only a little bit away. But the shootout shirt the other shirt I was going to wear was the shootout shirt. And again, I remember a few years ago, backdoor was the place to be. So it was just pretty awesome time. It's always a wild and crazy place.
Definitely. I've always wanted to try to drive my Toyota up that. I haven't had the chance to take it down there, and but every time I've been down there, it wasn't during. It was like pre-race season, so it was all filled in, and I was like, oh man, my Toyota would probably just shoot right up this with the.
Yeah.
I have like a 40/80 front weight bias on it and sticky tires and a.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I haven't had the chance yet. Hopefully, one of these days I'll get it down there.
Yeah, you take a set of sticky tires, and that'll be, no problem. Like I said, a good set of stickies will climb right up it.
I couldn't believe how much oil was on it. The thing was just black with oil. It looked like people just go there and change their oil.
During King of Hammers, on that Thursday night, that that's like the backdoor party. Like that is where you want to be. It's wild and crazy and total pandemonium, but it's also really cool because you get to see all these people that are out there celebrating King of Hammers and celebrating, being at this event, and just really, really enjoying it. So,
yeah, it gets rowdy out there for sure. I was down there in 2009. And we went out to that one night when they were getting all crazy and wind was blowing 100 miles an hour. It felt like it was about 30 degrees, but it's still a huge party going on. Everybody eating sand.
Oh yeah, it's definitely wild. But it's definitely where you want to be.
Go check on our top three here. Looks like they're just about to go out into the BDR Desert Whoop section. This is kind of like our little San Felipe here, where it's just a straight line of continuous whoops where if you can get it up on plane, you can just skip the tops of them. But not on this lap. It looks like on lap 1 they ran that section. So they already did the entirety of it. Breaking off to the parallel trail here, which is also a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good flow. So lap 4 already.
Lap 4.
So it's we're 43 minutes in, and race leaders on lap 4.
That's impressive because that's actually faster than anticipated.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that these laps are a little bit shorter than when we usually do a 3-lap config.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly shorter, but I have a feeling that if I know Sam, lap 6 is going to be a doozy.
Being the Johnson, watching him finish at night would be pretty awesome.
Oh, for sure. And that's something that a lot of the guys were talking about tonight. Like, okay, now, so the next race, we're going to do this configuration with the day-night cycle. So you got to get home before it gets dark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not uncommon to see guys finish after dark.
Oh, definitely. Driver's still hanging right there with Bailey. Just holding a good pace. Hard left.
And you said we're 4 laps into a 6-lap race. What's our leaderboard looking like?
Right now, we don't have a live leaderboard update, but let me see if I can get any stats. No stats. So that's something, like I mentioned, that we'll be working on for our next series. With the extra funding, we'll be able to get things like that up and running.
Yeah.
Because that, especially from our standpoint of trying to call these races, it's really hard when you're like, well, they're, so-and-so's in physical lead, but we have no idea how many repairs they have.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, that's probably the biggest thing, is knowing how many repairs they have, but more importantly, knowing what kind of repairs they have. Because saying, well, this guy has, 3 repairs and this guy has 1, well, you'd be like, okay, that's bad. But if you had 3, 3 trail repairs versus 3 pit repairs, three pit repairs would be 9 minutes. 1 trail repair is 8. So, those are equivalent.
Yes.
Not super crazy, Steve. And a guy who has 1 or 2, pit repairs versus a guy who has 2 or 3 trail repairs.
Yeah, definitely a critical difference between the two.
Oh, huge.
And Waffles is coming up over that arch. You can see those USR flags. That's Ultra Sim Racing, and that's Dave Cole has sponsored this race series with Ultra 4 Racing, and that's their official sim racing series is the USR. Looks like we just had someone pull in there, LAPC pull in for a pit repair. So that's going to cost him a little bit of time, but he's going to have a fresh car. And he's not going to have to worry about driving through the desert with damage and then cartwheeling his car, making it undrivable, and then having to take a trail repair. But unfortunately, what happens to me a lot of times when I get a new car is like, oh, this thing drives great compared to the piece of crap I was been running for the last 40 minutes. And then I go way too fast and get another repair within 5 minutes. So
yeah.
Takes a lot of restraint to hold on to that new car and not break it.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep that thing together. And again, especially if you just got a repair and kept the car together, just got this new, fresh, shiny car,
Driver Tech and Bailey still duking it out bumper to bumper going into the rock section. The driver's going to go creative with that line, but we'll call it legal. Good battle, picking different lines.
Yeah.
Bailey's gonna make it work with that bomber. It's pretty hard to keep up with those in the rocks.
And shout out to all of our YouTube subscribers watching on YouTube. Off-road Ricer jumping.
Oh, Bailey's going to take a bad bounce to get redirected. And we have yet another physical lead change. Driver Tech taking a bad. That was a nice move by Bailey, though. It kind of looked like he hit a quarter pipe on a BMX bike.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen some acrobatics happen from Ultra 4 cars as they're going through the rock section. Or even going through the open desert, too.
And then Dustin Girding right there still, keeping those guys with some pressure on them. Making short work of that section, so he's already making time on them. Oh, it looks like Bailey's going to get around driver again. Quite the battle, considering we're on lap 4 of 6. These guys are duking. Body panels strewn as far as the eye can see. And look at that, Dustin Girding right back in the mix. These two are currently tied for points, Bailey and Dustin.
And they're like literally ripping through there almost bumper to bumper right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. These guys are talented.
Like, definitely just very, very incredible.
I'll have to fix driver's car again. This chassis doesn't fare well going through the rock sections. It does flow well, though, as you just demonstrated, going up over those big square edges, just sending the front end over. Gonna take a wide line, get a better run up this hill. those little couple mile an hour here and there everywhere add up. You know, just carrying a couple extra mile an hour all the time makes a huge difference. Doesn't have to be a lot, but just a little.
Yeah, again, watch them, watch them, thrash through those rocks. You gotta make sure you know where, pick your right line, because you get caught up in there, you turn into a trail plug and block everything up pretty quickly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think that little section they just went down right there was what the original game developers had in there as backdoor. Because they're all from Germany, so they're not too familiar with it. But I think they did a great job at building it. And we actually talked to them about it, like, why didn't you guys make it more accurate? And they said, well, we didn't think it would matter. We figured people would just go, oh, it's like Johnson Valley. And I was like, well, you don't realize the level of off-road nerds you're dealing with here when it comes to Ultra 4. Like, they want to race the real environment or something close to it, because most people don't have the opportunity to in real life, and so it's the only way they're ever going to get to. But they know where the stuff is on the mountain, you know. SVT, he's of a desert racing background, but he's definitely holding his own in the series right now. He's running really well. Going up over that USR antenna hill. Looks like he's rocking a Toyo tire skin, Nitto spare, and Goodyear MTR tires. I like the creative freedom there is. Back checking on Lauren. He's I'm guessing he took some damage there, and he's going to try to really play the less repairs card. I think he had definitely a change of race strategy from last week, and instead of trying to send it and stay out front, he's just going to try to keep that car together.
Yeah, just trying to keep the car together. Sometimes head through those rocks. Just try to keep it in one piece is kind of the name of the game.
Yep. And like I say in the past, I hope some of the people watching will get a chance to come out and try this, at least if not at their own homes, but at King of the Hammers, and see that it's hard just to take a qualifying loop without a trail repair, let alone a race that's over an hour long. If anybody does this without trail repairs, and every time I say it's not going to happen, someone does it, and it shocks me every time, because in my experience, I only finished one race, I think, ever without repairs, and that was also the only race I've ever won. But now it's kind of a thing of the past where you have to also be fast and get no trail repairs.
Yeah. And you can see several guys out there kind of limp cars through areas, trying to keep them together through the rocks and get a finish out. Booming on the YouTube group was saying that, BCX would recover quickly. And Off-Road Ricer says, driver tech giving Bailey a run for his money. Definitely those guys are out there pushing hard.
Heck yeah.
Being the last race of the season, and everybody gets that drop, and everybody's trying to get as many points on the board as possible.
Yeah, driver tech, he's one of our longtime veterans, and he's one of our admin too. He helps out a lot around here, and he hasn't had the best season so far. So if he were to take home a win on this race we're calling the Big Kahuna, I think that would just make his day right there, maybe even week, probably month.
Yeah. Being able to win King of Hammers is pretty huge.
And after this race, we the point series will be completed, but we're going to continue our weekly races every Wednesday. I don't know if we're going to be broadcasting them or not, but we'll be still doing them. All the members are welcome to come and join. And if you're not a member, there's links you can click on that will take you to either our Discord or our Patreon where you get signed up. And the non-point series races are usually the most fun because that's when we start doing things like spec races where everybody runs the same car, or
Yeah.
experimenting with new tracks, things like that. It's a good time.
Yeah, get down to experimenting and really, it's a lot of fun, but it also helps the drivers become a lot better driver because when everybody has to run the same Jeep Cherokee, or the same Jeep Shamrock, you really gotta feel who has kind of the grip for the race program,
Yeah, we had a race a while back during our single events that I missed, and I was really sad. Oh, Driver Tech is going to send that drop all the way down, but pulls it off. We had a race where it was basically a stock Willys Jeep, or a slightly modified Willys Jeep, a slightly modified Samurai, or a slightly modified Toyota pickup were your choices.
Okay. I like the word slightly. It was slightly modified. Well, you went from 20-inch tires to 30?
I can't remember. I think it had a tire cap of 33.
Okay.
So you can run up to a 33. I don't believe you could change the engines. The Toyota had 4-link suspension. The Samurai had a 4-link suspension option. But the Willys Jeep, I believe, was leaf spring only. But it's also a lot lighter than both of those two vehicles, so we can get more momentum. And so it was a pretty evenly matched battle. I think a Samurai ended up winning it.
Yeah, now that I can believe, just because they're so nimble. It's like a little mountain goat. Who is running the yellow and black UFO car?
Yellow and black. Let's see. I don't. Are you looking at server 1 or server 2? Server 2. That's green. The KOB.
Yes, the KOB car.
Yeah, that is Eric. He's one of the guys who runs the racing over at KOB. Him and APC. APC is in server 1 right now, and he's over in 2. Good guys.
He had either a little bit of a sink going on, or he had 2 rear flat tires and it looked like a hub that was barely dangling on.
Yeah, that'd be some desync. I haven't been watching that screen close enough to where I keep periodically checking over there.
And then it went away, so I wasn't sure if he had everything freshened up, or he went ahead and got a. I figured he was trying to loot and limp it back into pits. I would get a pit repair versus a trail repair. So
yeah,
he was definitely giving it all he had. So
yeah, so I tabbed through the cars and I hit the repair button on them.
Okay.
Just so it only repairs it on my screen. But that way we're not looking at a car that's not functional.
Yeah.
Which is sad because this game has such a good damage model that it's extremely realistic when parts fail and things like that. So it's too bad we can't see that. But these guys who are driving, they see it loud and clear.
Yeah.
It's like those 2 bombers are staying pretty close to each other, but Driver Tech in that desert car is checking out. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of rocks ahead. So lap 5 of 6 for the leaders.
Lap 5 of 6.
Yeah, they're on a move here. So we're 59 minutes in. So usually the leaders would be done and the rest of the pack would be filtering in by now on a normal race. But like we said before, this is not a normal race. Go back, check on driver up here. He's 18.3% fuel left. That's always a handy piece of information to know.
Yeah, that is super huge to know.
Going back to Dustin Girding and that bomber, 24%. SPT has 37% in it. Lauren 27%. So these guys are all running a little below half tank. It looks like Bailey's 27%, Rob Reno 56%, Waffles 54% with that giant desert tank. And I believe Lauren just made a pass on APC. I see that dust up ahead of him. So Lauren's working his way back up to the field. Gotta love the battles on the rocks. It's just the slow motion racing where you can tell they're yanking on the steering wheel like, come on, come on, come on, come on. Trying to get around each other. But just enough self-restraint to not break the car.
It is, and again, it's so comical to see these guys. It's so frustrating to see the guy in front of you 20 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet in front of you, and you're pushing the car with all of your might to get there. But at the same time, you have to keep the car together, too. So you got to have this teeter-totter effect of trying to push it with everything you have at the same time, trying to keep the car together and catch that guy. But, you also don't want to crash and ruin your day. That is such a hard line to walk once you're, doing everything you can to get there. And that's whether you're doing sim racing, whether you're doing, actually in a bomber chassis ripping down the road, or, regardless, this is a war of attrition. We've heard so many guys talk about, just trying to keep that car together and get to the finish line is so epic.
Yeah, and that's something that I've always really focused on in my real world experience, because I'm of a trail wheeling background, and we usually always go in the snow, and our trails are really tight and technical. So if your vehicle fails where you have to be towed out by another car, it pretty much ruins the day for the whole group, because it's such an effort to get a broken, dead car out, to where we all just really try to focus on keeping the car together. And obviously we're not racing, so we don't have to push the limits as much. But that was one thing I've always wanted to try at when I watched King of the Hammers, thinking, man, if I could ever get in the seat of one of those, I feel like I'd be able to keep the car together. And we heard a little siren there a second ago by Eric behind Lauren in the dust. So Lauren's going to pull over and let him by, like the gentleman that he is. And Eric's going to go ripping off into the sand dunes. Or sorry, Eric and APC. They're good buddies. Same team. They're holding it down for the south of the border guys. So we are an international racing league where we have racers from all the way from Canada, United States, Mexico, and Portugal for sure. There might be some others, but those are the ones I know of. Little traffic jam coming through this technical rock section. Bailey steering just going both directions. We'll have to fix that.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of cars and hammers that have steering that goes both directions.
All right. Wonder if that's a mechanical advantage. You can go both ways at the same time. Okay, should have everybody's car put back together there, tapping through, repairing them. So this looks like a new spot. I've never seen this spot before. And Bailey backs up and says, here, you try it, because I'm done. This looks extremely technical. I have a feeling we're going to see some guys hung up here for a minute. So it's probably going to re-rack. Well, top four is all here. Top four physical anyways. Dustin's going to try to take a little crawler line with that bomber, but front end gets pretty light. So I have a feeling this is one of those hills I'd call a lucky bounce.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think you're going to just crawl this one. It's going to take a little bit of speed, a little bit of precision, a little bit of luck. Good driver tech here with this IFS car. See how it goes. And like all these guys said earlier, like we're just trail wheeling tonight. We're not racing.
Yeah,
so here you
for
go.
real.
This is what trail wheeling's like with us. We usually get to go up to an obstacle and get the whole group there and take turns beating on it until someone gets up it. And... Oh, there's ooh, that looked like it for a second there up that left side. Now, driver, are you gonna hit it again, or are you gonna? Oh, I think driver took a winch. And I believe Bailey's going to take a winch as well.
Yeah, which, seems ludicrous to watch guys get out and winch. But, I mean, if you've ever been at King of Hammers and watched these guys, they fly up to the back door, hop out, and winch because it's way smarter. You don't have a rollover. You're saving, valuable minutes, maybe even hours, depending on, if you roll over hard, break something off, or you dump all your fluid out of your steering reservoir, you break a shock off. Now your entire day just got changed by one little mistake.
Well, the interesting thing is winching isn't legal in our racing series.
Oh, really?
But they are. I wasn't in the driver's meeting, and we have talked about making exceptions for certain obstacles. So that could be what they're doing right now. Because they're in the chat with all the marshals. So.
I like your teal banners there. It's pretty awesome. I rock bouncer's teal and white, so I always try to
nice.
Point out when I see the teal stuff, because you see purple and red and blue and black and yellow so much that, I try to show some love when I have some teal guys. So that's why I was looking at your Deadpool car earlier. Kind of cool looking.
Yeah. Yeah, they we had to make all the different colors for the flags because you can't read the number on the flag when you're going through the desert. You just gotta know which color lap you're on. So we try to make ones that stand out from the background as much as possible. We used to have for lap 2 was a white flag, so it was the lap 1 was red, lap 2 was white, lap 3 was blue. So it was red, white, and blue, easy to remember. But the white ones were almost impossible to see when you're at speed. They didn't have enough contrast, so we started going to more loud colors, and definitely helps.
Yeah, and that helps again when you're flying by. We kind of notice them, and with an aerial view, it's not as bad. But when you're in that first-person view, things are going by at such speed, especially if it's really dusty. It's kind of hard to see.
Yeah, and that was my issue. I don't know how many times I was running lap 2 and got off course and.
Yeah.
And drove for 10 minutes, before I realized, I'm not on this lap.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the worst part. Driving 10 minutes in the wrong direction. That's pretty brutal.
Yeah. And so one of the racers, he would, for every lap, he would have a gummy bear on his dash. And so he would, each lap, when we crossed the finish line, he would eat one. So he could just look down and see how many were left. And then he would know which lap he was on.
I love it. Yeah, no, I like my snacky snacks for sure. So I would definitely be voting on that process.
Yeah. So it looks like neither Waffles or Dustin are going to take the winching option. Maybe they don't know how, or they're not going to lower their standards. Hard to say.
Yeah, that's interesting. Again, you want to get out there at the same time, play it safe.
There we go. Dustin just winched up. We'll probably see Waffles do the same thing here. And then Rob Reno waiting patiently. I think that's the most patient I've ever seen Rob be. He's one of those guys where when he's racing, if he sees a hole, he's going to stick his car in it.
Yeah. And again, you got to at least try it,
And you notice he's getting out of the way really quick when he saw Waffles come up, because if they get stuck together, they're going to have to take a reset to get themselves apart. So giving them lots of space. Let's see, looks like Waffles maybe hopefully hooking up a winch here. Not yet. This trail right here that Dustin's about to go in is another one that Sam built. So our Johnson Valley is very different from the standard Johnson Valley that you would get when you buy BeamNG. It probably has 15 custom trails on it, and a lot of the standard trails have been also modified too. So it's quite the different experience. I encourage people, to come out and join, even if they don't want to race, just to come go off-roading in our servers. We're going to have a new tier in our subscription service for that is significantly less than the race registration, so people can just come out and enjoy the servers and the people out practicing or just having fun. Looks like Waffles didn't winch. He backed up. He's letting Rob go for it. And then Rob's going to take a winch because he's watched everybody before him.
Yeah.
And Waffles, your current points leader. He's you'd think he would be, going for every competitive advantage he could get right now.
Yeah.
And I really don't see a way up this other than a really lucky bounce that would probably damage your car and some trial and error. So I just got to get that front end up on there and pull some winch. And SVT is going to catch up to Waffles while all the bees are in the butter here on this little impossible hill.
Have we had anybody cross over to that 6th lap yet?
Let's go check on that. Driver Tech right here is still on lap 5. I believe he's still physical lead. But judging where he's at and the direction that those arrows are pointing, he still has a ways to go before he gets back to the short course.
Okay.
How we did it in the original race configuration was lap 1 was all desert, lap 2 was a mix, and then lap 3 was pretty much all rock canyons.
Okay.
And so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a similar theme to that tonight with this course. But once again, Bailey's caught up to him, and now that we're in these technical boulders, that bomber is going to be take a little less effort to get through. So wouldn't be surprised if we see Bailey going for a pass here pretty soon.
Yeah, Bailey's a pretty hard charger in any way. He's a guy that likes to get up there and battle hard, and watching him at Cranon, he was getting that first lap. Ryan Webb, got caught in a rut, almost rolled over right in front of Bailey. Bailey was able to sneak around him as he was bicycling around and got put it back on all wheels. But Bailey was able to sneak around him, got out front, and just really pour on the speed for a lap or two. Got a decent little head start, little lead, and then just took his time, was smart, played it safe, and was able to hold on to that lead and finish first in his class, which was really, really great to see.
Yeah, Bailey's had an excellent season this year. I think he's won every Ultra 4 race he's gone to. Yo, nice going, guys. Up that obstacle, and just in time because LAPC is right back in the mix. Kind of cool how that obstacle did re-rack the field, sort of like a Lucas Oil competition caution. Just kind of gets everybody back in the grouped up with each other for some nice close action.
Yeah, the first time I ever saw that re-racking, I was so confused on what was happening. I thought it was like a safety caution. And someone next to me in the stands explained, no, that's kind of like a competition caution. It means that they basically re-rack everybody, get everybody set up, and then you have a few more laps to go and kind of figure it out and kind of get out there, push the speed, and it's always interesting to see how it shakes out. But very fun as well.
Yeah, and when I was hosting short course racing on iRacing, we eventually implemented that into our races, and it helped a lot because the guys were so good and so fast that they would just kind of get a 3 or 4 car length gap between each other, and no one could ever catch each other again. Because they were all running, just perfect lines lap after lap, and no one could make up any ground on anybody. But with that competition caution, re-racking the field, single file restart in the current running order really made things more interesting for the last half of the race.
Oh, it definitely shakes things up very quickly.
And that's where a nice little obstacle like that kind of groups everybody back up. Except it can go both ways though, an obstacle like that, because if let's say the first car gets there, struggles for a while, blocks everybody up, creates a little traffic jam, they get up it, check out, and then the second car struggles, it gives that first car a pretty big advantage to everybody else, and then the other guys have to deal with traffic after that.
Yeah, it's again can definitely shake things up, and it makes for, at least from a spectator standpoint, it makes it very exciting.
Yeah, and that's ultimately the goal of all racing that I've ever been involved with, is as a spectator sport. Even though it's the racers are the ones making it happen, what pays the bills and keeps the race going is the spectator side of it.
Yeah, again, it's again, I always try the spectator view, regardless. So
That's one of the cool things about Caleb and Chris and those guys, what they do for King of the Hammers. Their broadcast is so good now. Every year it gets better and better, and it's so good now that you feel like you're there. You feel like a spectator almost, because you can follow the whole race, get great shots. It's really enjoyable.
yeah, for sure.
We just need to get it set up so Caleb has more cameras to work with back there, because right now I think he only has maybe 3 or 4 or 5 shots to work with, to where it should be like 50. But we'll get there someday as the technology evolves and we start figuring things out better. Looks like Waffles is going to get back around SVT, but gets his front tire shoved into an undercut. He's able to work it out. Real technical spot there. This guy's making it look easy.
And again, the beating you would be taking in that car right now, as fast as these guys are pushing through there, is just unbelievable.
Oh yeah, 2 words would be detached retinas.
For real. For real.
That's one of the things I like about the first person view, is it does make you slow down to what your visibility can handle, because you're taking the thrashing inside the car as far as your view is concerned, where in the third person view, you're kind of disconnected from all that violence. And I do believe that Lorne is the only one running first person tonight, and that might be why we're seeing the rest of the field check out on him a little bit, because the other guys who do oftentimes run first person view all said, hell no, we're not doing that tonight. So we'll check on Driver Tech, Dustin and Bailey, see how those guys are doing. Still close battles, but it looks like Bailey got away from him, and that's not something you want to let happen.
No. Bailey will definitely capsize on that and make quick work of that.
But still, not too far away, but considering how far we're into this race and how close these guys are, this is nice. I was hoping it would be like this versus just a bunch of different dots spread out all over the map.
Yeah, which can, again, that can happen, in sim racing as well as, reality. That can very quickly, again, depending on how everybody's day turned out, but you can see guys get bunched up in a block, and then you can also see guys kind of get spread out. And, as some of the teams that are faster start pushing a little harder, maybe they have a little more motor, maybe they have a little bit better suspension tuning, maybe they've done a little more homework through qualifying. You can see guys definitely check out pretty quickly and again, get spread out. And it is fun to watch 2 guys kind of battle it out. Luckily, the helicopters do a great job. And again, that, Take a Live production along with Hammer King production, they do a great job of kind of keeping that action nonstop and helping it make sure it looks awesome. So, but you guys can definitely start pouring in the speed and make it, make quick work of it.
Yeah, and seems to me kind of like Chris and Caleb and those guys have pioneered that in a way, to where in desert racing and stuff in the past, there's always been some decent coverage from helicopter footage and a couple ground cameras at the hot spots, but very minimal. And usually just that the helicopter teams are sending in broadcasts and stuff. But now it's they have enough cameras around and the way to put them all together to make it to where they can give pretty equal coverage of the entire field throughout the course.
Yeah.
I love this ridge that Bailey's coming up to here. It's whenever I first started doing this a long time ago, first discovered it, made a video of one of those stock vanilla, goofy kind of rock crawlers coming down this ridge, and it was pretty epic at the time. Got the view of Hammertown down there in the distance, and it's a cool spot.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the views out of Hammertown are just incredible.
Yeah, really excited about our new map we're working on, because it's kind of I'm not going to say 100% accurate, but I'm going to go out and say at least 90%, where it'll feel like home.
It is. Again, very, very cool to see that too.
And that's one of the, Bailey's going to take a tumble in a bad spot. Ooh, is that rock going to save him? No, but he's going to land back on course at least. Not the right direction, but he is on course, so that's always a good start.
That's definitely a great way to start.
And it looked like he landed on the cage roof, which in real life that would be some pretty gnarly harness bruises, maybe worse. But on the game, it's perfect because that means he didn't do any suspension damage.
Which is important.
Yeah, nice and steady, working his way through the rocks. I'm going to go ahead and assume we are getting close to the home stretch for lap 5. But after that, still one more to go.
So we're still on lap 5?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that lap 5 must have been just pretty brutal there.
Yeah, I had a feeling that it was going to get progressively difficult as the laps go on.
Which means we may see more of those trailer pairs popping up, as time persists.
Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna call it right now and say that everybody has at least one repair, but like I said, they've proved me wrong before.
And again, if you're pushing that hard, there's a real good chance you're going to have one. But if you're constantly pushing that hard, you can make up that 8 minutes, throughout the course of an hour and 20-hour and 30-minute race.
Yes, definitely. That 8 minutes, that's a lot of time, a lot of course time.
Yeah. Watch these guys just navigate through the rocks. The thrashing they would be taking right now in the cars is absolutely brutal.
Oh yeah, and Bailey, he's if you watch his throttle and his braking, he does a really good job of keeping the weight off the front of the car. So when you're coming into these rocks, he's not hitting his brakes, he's not loading up the front end, he's just letting it roll and then giving you just a little bit of gas to keep the front end up and light. And that's the best way to carry through these rocks. But an unexperienced driver coming in here trying to go too fast or using the brakes too much, it's really going to make that front end dig into the rocks and bite, and you'll be thrashing, pretty hard. There is a flow to it. It's just still very violent and kind of elusive to. It's where even if you're good at it, you have it sometimes, but not always.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Go through and fix everyone's car real quick so we can look at them. And Bailey's still stretching out his lead, but those guys are right there.
Yeah. Again, and Bailey's a guy who can definitely, he knows how to teeter-totter that side of between knowing when to push it, know when to save the car.
Definitely. He's kind of showed us some of his techniques on how he holds the steering wheel, just to constantly, like, he has 3 different positions he holds the steering wheel in, just to remind himself what kind of driving he's doing at the moment, so his feet don't forget,
Yeah. I could only imagine.
But I have a feeling right now he's still in a full race pace, up on the wheel, elbows out, digging. He knows that one mistake and these guys will be right back on his bumper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I bet driver's cheeks are going to be sore tonight because he's got to be smiling the whole way, giving Bailey a run for his money. And yeah, this is a great run for him. He's always been a super fast guy. He's just been having some bad luck throughout the series so far. And it looks like Lauren's still playing that slow and steady card. Wouldn't be surprised if his car's taking some damage and he's just going to run it. And he does run the first person view. So when you're coming up some of these ridge lines, literally all you see is sky. It's just it's just
racing a bouncer. I know what that's like. You have to. Again, this is where qualifying and pre-running pre-running definitely takes a toll. If you have a land markers that hey, when I get to this big rock on the right, I need to turn left, or back up and bump it once I pass this tree. Having those landmarks is so crucial, because sometimes you can only see rock. I mean, you look out your passenger window and all you see is a rock face because you're almost to tip over. And you look out the driver's side and all you see is sky. You look out the front windshield and all you see is sky. You really have to know what you're doing, otherwise you could be upside down very quickly.
Yes, and like going down this hill right now that Lauren's going down, it is so hard to have a good sense of descent in this game, where it's easy to tell how steep a hill is, but it's hard to tell when you're going down. Like right here is a super steep right-hander where I usually put it in front wheel only and drag a handbrake around it. And Lauren makes it look pretty easy.
Rip that front dig for the rock crawling fans out there.
Oh yeah, I use it a ton in the cars that have it available. Some of the more modern Ultra 4 cars do not. It's just the ones with the Atlases and stuff like that.
The OG Ultra 4 cars.
Yeah, that's crazy to think that an Atlas transfer case is like OG now, when it was always the holy grail for us, I'm gonna go get a transfer case that's worth as much as my car,
yeah, for real.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how far technology has come in this industry. I wouldn't have predicted it, but it's definitely exciting to see.
Yeah.
Driver tech's back on the backdoor bypass. That means I'm guessing he's getting pretty close to getting back to the short course on lap 5. But this section right here can be very frustrating. And judging by the struggle he's having, I'm going to say he has some damage because his car is pulling really hard to the left. So that would indicate a flat tire probably, or maybe a broken A-arm. I've seen him limp a broken A-arm for a long ways before. So.
Yeah.
But he got up at that. Either means he took a trail repair or it wasn't that bad.
Again, it is kind of impressive to see what some guys can do with half of a car or 3/4 of a car. Even watching Hammers this year, watching the UTV just take an absolute beating. I mean, that's just impressive what that Can-Am could do.
Oh yeah. And driving with the game controller versus a steering wheel definitely helps. Oh, Slinky Sam's going to take a tumble in Server 2. Dang, that's unfortunate. The controller, when you have damage, you're not getting that feedback in your wheel that's pulling you off course so much. You just have to compensate with your steering a little bit. You're not actually feeling it. So that is helpful. But I know plenty of people that have their force feedback turned up that can still drive with damage pretty well. But driver, if he has damage, as long as his car can move, he's not going to take a repair right now because the pits are just at the bottom of the hill. And it looks like Dustin Girding is already there and out of Hammertown. So it'll be interesting to see if driver pulls into the pits up here. I have a feeling he had some damage, whether he took a trail repair or not. His car was definitely showing some signs of very hard left steering bias. Right here is where he'd be pulling into the pits if he's going to. And he is not. So either he took a trail repair or I was just seeing things.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm very fascinated to see how many guys had trail repairs and then what the highest number of trail repairs was. Because that's got to be a big number right now.
Yeah. Some guys get to that level of just, I'm over it. And they hit that repair button every time their car starts acting up. And I've seen those guys get up to around 30 repairs.
Yeah.
But they're in it for, they're not in it to win it. They just want to race. And if they're going to race, they don't want to be driving with busted cars. So.
Yeah, and again, it kind of comes out to, are you here to try to win the series? Are you trying to get points? Are you really focused on the series and have points? Or are you just out to have a good time? Or you have to do some wheeling and just, get up and have fun with the car? What is your goal, I think, is ultimately the best question, Is your goal to finish? Is the goal to finish, with, finish, is the goal to just have fun? What's your goal? What's your purpose, And so, being able to get up there and just, some guys are out there just have a lot of fun and it works out, Other guys definitely want to get a good finish out of it.
Yeah, and just getting experience under your belt is a good way to do it too, where I've never started out good at anything, but I usually always wind up pretty good in the long run by just doing it, just going out and doing it, do it again, fail, learn, do it again, fail, learn. And then eventually you find yourself like, oh, I'm up with the top guys now.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think, getting out there and doing it and having some good experiences, some bad experiences can definitely make things, you learn a lot from those and you go, hey, this is a good time, or hey, this was not good. Hey, we tore up the car. Hey, we had some problems. And, and talking to other people, that makes things a little bit easier, a little bit smoother. And you really kind of figure out what's going on and how to make it the best experience for you.
Yeah. And as competitive as this group is, they're also very helpful. So they want to grow the sport. They want to see people out here having fun, and they'll tell you, what they know. They'll definitely share the knowledge, share setups, even in-game vehicles and the hardware as far as your sim rig and your PC go. They'll teach you how to get that stuff optimized for the most frame rates and just real helpful group.
Yeah, one thing I really love about the video game is you can go and look at anybody's suspension setup, So a guy A goes and spends a bunch of time tuning, and guy B can go, okay, that's what I'm going to run, which I think is really kind of neat. Just because I think it helps out guys who don't have a lot of time. I say guys, it could be a 12-year-old, it could be an 82-year-old. So I mean, people who maybe don't have as much time, still kind of try to keep it fair as possible versus a guy who gets out and really gets dialed in.
Yeah, and that was one of the big things about iRacing was setup was everything, and you couldn't see the other people's setups.
Yeah.
So they could share them, but you couldn't just go look. And a good setup could make you untouchable. And the same on here. A good setup can definitely make you untouchable, as we found out on our Wild West short course track the other night, where everybody was running, I think, around 51-minute lap times, or 51 seconds. and Bailey came in there, threw a tune on the car, and all of a sudden everybody was running 49s. So it definitely makes a difference. And I like that it's someone can't just get a setup and run away with it. And it helps, like you were saying, the guy who doesn't have the time to look for all those little exploits to get performance advantage can still come in and be competitive.
Yeah, and no, I agree. I think that's a good point.
I think that if it was possible for it to lock out the setups where you can't see them, we would probably do that for our unlimited class racers, but then we would have like we're talking with our short course, we're going to have a fixed setup class too, where basically everybody just runs the same setup and that's it.
Yeah. And I like that too. I like even looking at the actual car itself is impressive.
Our remote pit out here. This one's kind of cool. When you pull into it, Sam added some sound effects, so it plays some music and you hear some air guns going off and stuff.
Okay,
driver tech stops here. Nope.
Yeah, no, I love that you have a remote pit. What makes me the happiest is there's porta potties at that remote pit, because those are definitely worth their weight in gold on race day.
Oh yeah, it cracked me up. One night we were out here doing a pre-run, and we had a big group of guys. We were hauling ass. We were making a video too, like a little promo video, and we all pulled up to remote pit there and stopped. And in beam, there's an avatar inside the car that you can't see. But if you hit F on the keyboard, it'll pop out a snowman. And you can actually get out of your car and walk around with the snowman. And someone hopped out of their car and the snowman was walking over to the porta potties.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, those are very important. Again, like I said, that's very, very handy out there in the middle of the desert, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, that it looked like you had like a little food prep area, maybe some snacks, you know. Have hot dogs or hamburgers out there. I tell you what, you can make a lot of friends with some broth out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, I believe it. And the trees and bushes aren't big enough to act as porta potties, so you gotta have those.
Yeah.
Now driver tech running nice and smooth, carrying some good speed down this fence line section that is just known as one of the gnarliest, most difficult sections. Not because of big technical obstacles, but it's just so easy to make a mistake or damage your car. Go up here and check on our physical second, Dustin Girding. Looks like he's missing the front of his car. And then Bailey, he is not wasting any time. He's entering this new section of fence line that we just made, or he's about to. Right here where the trail goes to the left instead of down is all new.
I love those monster air filters in the back of that UFO car.
Yeah, it's such a cool mod.
The big old Canadian air filters it just looks so huge.
All right, better fix Waffle's car. It's broke. Oh, looks like Waffle's got off course. He's having to do a little course correction, redirect.
That didn't sound good either. It sounded like there was some serious metal-on-metal contact going through there.
Yeah, it didn't look good. Okay, when you fixed up here, go back out. So if you can see off in the distance, there's kind of a flat white area. That's where they're going to be going this lap, and that's where we talked about uncomfortable amount of times at or near rev limiter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So as you can see, the terrain's going to change right here. They're going off of what we call terrain and onto what's a backdrop mesh. So this is not dirt. It's just put here for visual reasons by the game developers. Yeah. That way it's not just a blank space, but it can be driven on. So we decided to incorporate it into the course. And you can watch Bailey's temperatures climbing as his throttle is held steadily at 100%.
Just pin it wide open.
Yeah. Staying to the inside through the fence gap. And wow, he's carrying some speed through there. But The interesting thing is at the end of this salt flat, you have to go back through the fence. And I'm going to say the opening is about 2 vehicle widths wide. So
Ooh.
they're going to have to get that checked up. Let's see if anybody else has made it to salt flats yet. Nope. Looks like Bailey is the only one out there. And here he comes. Looks like he's back onto the dirt through the gap. And now this is where our little preview video with the trophy Jeep started earlier, where he's coming up to Send It Hill. And we'll see if he scrubs it or sends it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say in race conditions probably a scrub, but if he knows the camera's on him, he might send it.
Yeah. Again, if you have a little bit of a lead, again, more than 8 minutes, even if you wad the whole car up, chair roll repair and move right back in. You know.
Yeah, it looks like he scrubbed it really nice, kept the car level and flat over the top, and it's back out of the desert. Takes the middle line through the split section. And this is all new desert here that first time racing on it. So these guys don't have muscle memory to it yet. They're just kind of sight reading as they go along. Rob Reno's coming back out of Hammertown, starting his lap 6. Waffles is in the motocross section. Looks like APC's about back to the short course. Driver Tech is just going out onto the salt flats right now. Looks like Dustin Girding is out there as well, heading back towards the sand dunes.
Like, it looks like a very wide open area out there by the sand dunes.
Yeah, it's called low poly terrain, so it's just minimal detail, no bumps, just smooth backdrop for visual reasons. Makes it extremely fast. See if Dustin thread the needle. Nope. Oh man, that fence gap is just so small right there. So
the fence clearly does not move.
No, fence is solid. And you saw a sign right there that said warning 400 polygons beyond this point. So to put that in perspective, one rock on here is probably like 5,000 polygons.
Okay.
So that means that whole entire area has only 400. So it's very simplified terrain.
Yeah.
Dustin's going to take it easy over Send It Hill as well, not going to risk a yard sale. We need a cameraman up there at the top taking pictures, and I bet they'd start sending it.
Yeah, you get the helicopter. You see that in your peripheral, it's a game on. They're full.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Looks like Bailey is already out of that first new rock section there and back out of the sand dunes. Go check on Waffles. He's working his way up fence line still. Yeah, these guys have gotten pretty spread out. Driver Tech just over Send It Hill. Go check on Dustin. He's coming through this new rock section here. Making pretty short work of it in that bomber. It just works its way right through these technical rocks. It's like nobody taking that right line. I don't know whether or not they didn't practice it or it just wasn't worth it. It can be done, but I could see wasting some time in there too. Probably more time wasted than you make up.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I get lap 6. Everybody's probably playing it pretty safe. And
We officially
Bailey.
started lap 6.
Yeah, so we're on lap 6. We're well into it. It looks like Bailey is on the home stretch right now. Out there in the physical lead. He smells finish line.
Heck yeah.
And we are an hour and 45 minutes in uncorrected.
Wow.
So big race tonight. Big race. Uh-oh, Bailey, where are you going? There you go. And I have a feeling that we're within just a few minutes of the finish line here. Slinky Sam, he was the mastermind behind this whole course. I like building trails. Like I love building trails, but linking it together an entire race course gives me anxiety. It's just so hard to plan a route without using the same trails too much or going the wrong way on one of them. And Sam did a great job linking 6 laps together out here. It's quite the adventure.
Yeah.
And looks like Bailey has a pretty significant physical lead on everybody, but curious to see if he pushed that no button at all and
Yeah.
got a new car.
We're going to see how that trail repair plan plays out. Again, he can have 1 or 2 as long as everybody else has 1 or 2. So
yeah, I would be just absolutely shocked if nobody has a repair. And if anybody doesn't do it, it could be this guy right here, Dustin Girding. He has been one of those guys who has surprised us over and over again with being fast and no repairs. And then, of course, Lauren, he's always been the king of no repairs. Moderate to fast speed, and no repairs has been the name of the game for him. But watching him fall back in the pack tonight, I'm wondering if he was limping some damage.
yeah.
So what's next for you guys, Matt? What are you moving on to after this? You got any big events coming up?
Well, I am here this week, and then Tuesday we leave to head to Kentucky for finals. We have that going on, and then I will be gone for about 5 days with that. Come home. I'll be home 6 days. Then we head to Fall Crawl, which is a big off-road event in Harlan, Kentucky. So I have
Awesome.
two huge events back to back, pretty much. That my car is not going to like because both of them are pretty hardcore. Finals, obviously, getting out there and thrashing around on it, and with the Ultra 4 finals with the same weekend as Fall Crawl, so that'll be going on for all the guys heading out to the Oklahoma. Davis, Oklahoma is where that's going on for Ultra 4 guys. So that'll be awesome to see. So I have a couple big events, and then we still have a couple other smaller bouncer events, but they're not part of the series. They're kind of one-off events. That'll be really good to attend and really good to have fun with. So that'll be a good time. And then there's SEMA show, PRI show, stuff like that. So definitely want to check those out. So
awesome. Well, Bailey Cole, ladies and gentlemen, looks like he's going to take physical lead. He's in the short course, and he's going to show us he knows how to drive on 2 wheels if he wants to. So here we go. Big Kahuna, final round of the Ultra Sim Series hosted by RekLes Racing. Your physical race leader is about to cross the line, and we will get a time. Bailey Cole, 2 hours, 19 minutes, 3 seconds, 4 trail repairs.
Wow. 4 trail repairs.
Yeah, so if Bailey had 4, I'm going to say Dustin has at least 2.
Man.
It seemed like Bailey was pushing quite a bit harder.
Yeah, he was pushing pretty hard.
And looks like Bailey hopped in the passenger seat with driver tech as he's trying to run down Dustin again.
That's
that that car that driver tech is driving is quite fragile, so I have a feeling his repairs, unfortunately, even though he's been carrying a really fast pace, are going to be up there. Oh, and he gives Dustin a nerf. Says, "Hey, buddy, I don't care if we're at the end. I want to finish in front of you." So,
yeah, definitely. That's rough when somebody's right there and you're just trying to finish in front of them.
yeah, and then Dustin says, "Okay, just don't hurt me." All right.
Yeah, especially when you're that close. I mean, like they're heading through the arch now.
Yeah. Yeah, if I know driver, he's already sees checkers. He's just foot to the floor, finger to the floor.
Yeah. How many guys do we still have on course?
Looks like there would be 7 on course. Driver just finished. And here goes Dustin for the finish, but that's not the finish line, Dustin. There we go. The finish line's right over there.
So we do potentially have our top 3.
Oh, Dustin. 159, 1 trail repair.
Wow.
Nice run. Holy cow. Driver, 209, 2 trail, 1 pit. That's impressive for how hard he was pushing and how fragile that IFS car is. I would consider that an achievement for sure with that car. His driver was carrying a hell of a pace. He was right there with those guys the whole time in those more durable bombers.
Yeah.
And let's see, where did Waffles go? Waffles. We didn't lose Waffles, did we? Uh-oh, I think we lost Waffles. That's unfortunate. Because Waffles was currently sitting in the points lead, so if he is disconnected, fortunately, if you get disconnected from the server, seems how our timing system is not based off of the multiplayer, it is off of a we call it a local mod.
Okay.
If you get disconnected from the server, you can still finish your race and you will get a time. And so he will be able to take a screenshot of his time when he crosses the line and still get credit for that if he got disconnected from the server.
Okay.
But here comes Rob Reno and Ascended Hill. We'll see how he's feeling tonight. Yep, he's feeling scrubby too. I don't blame him, but you can send the crap out of that hill. Here comes SVT, gonna thread the needle. Gets it done. All these guys are probably wishing they were wearing driving gloves because their steering wheel's probably just all sweat and they want to call it a night.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're definitely building up a sweat right now.
Where's Lauren? Lauren has made it out into the Salt Flats. Let's go see what his 1100 horsepower car can do out here. 118, 120. .2% fuel left, so he's holding to the floor though. Well, so you can see that fuel is just dropping.
5% fuel left. I mean, he literally has nothing in the tank. Like he definitely used it all.
Like I just saw 148 miles an hour though, so he's getting it. But he will have to pull over for fuel up here pretty soon. And that looks like a good spot right there. He's going to pull over, take some fuel. At least it refuels faster than it goes out, so that's the good news. Rob Reno getting hung up on a little rock there. Oh, Rob Reno's going to take the right line. Makes short work of it. That saves some time right there. You can hear that bomber in 4 low just wound.
Full tilt. Full tilt.
It's getting to that time of day where if it doesn't go, just get a little more gas.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, you do end up on the side a little bit, but you know.
Yeah, it happens.
End up with a few winches or trailer repairs, you know.
Let's see, no one else crossed the line yet. Still Dustin Girding holding it down with that 159. Pretty impressive running this course under 2 hours. I'd say people were predicting an hour and a half, but I was kind of skeptical of that. And it looks like I was right on that. That is a lot of course to cover in a short amount of time. And, you know, if this was a pre-run course where these guys had all week to chew on it, I bet we would have seen some times closer to an hour and a half. But considering that they just had to show up and figure it out,
yeah,
it's understandable.
That's still pretty impressive. Again, just to show up and wing it and be like, "Hey, this is how we're doing it."
Yeah, yeah, and especially with that few repairs. I mean, Dustin Girding, 1 trail. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
Even at trail wheeling pace, like not even trying to race, I couldn't do it. It looks like SVT is going to get hung up in these nuisance boulders over here. That was why I put that right line in, was you can either risk the more flat nuisance boulders or shoot that little wall. And it looks like those are getting the best of him right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely looks like he's stuck in there pretty good.
Yeah, he got his tire pinched, so he used the node grab function. Oh, he just took a trail repair.
Oh.
A lot of times when you hit the reset button, it actually puts your car back 180 backwards in the trail. I don't know why it does that, but it does.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I really don't understand why it does that, but more often than not, when you hit that repair button, you'll wind up 180 out. Looks like in server 2, we have no finishers yet. They started slightly after server 1 did.
Okay.
Looks like SVT and Rob Reno are going to be our next finishers. Rob is almost there. Just a couple more turns and 1 big rock. Oh, what? Little desync.
We appreciate everybody tuning in the live feed tonight. Hope you watch it on YouTube. Up in our chat section.
Oh, Rob Reno still has backdoor to contend with.
Oh, that's gonna be a big duck.
Yeah, well, he just sent it right on up there. I guess that's one
Wow.
way to do it.
Send it.
Takes the Tom Ways right line there.
Yeah, I think with backdoor, that's one you gotta just either send it or you have to take your time. I think it's one or the other.
Yeah, I remember when the race was going up, you'd see, ooh, a little bit of English on that launch there, send him a little to the
Yeah.
left, but he's going to get recovered quickly, not waste any time, get back on course. Yeah, I'd see a lot of guys just get their front tires up on it and have their co-driver pop out and pull winch just because
Yeah.
they didn't want to risk catching a bad bite and flipping it over or breaking something.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know the break anything. And again, it doesn't even have to be anything major. You could have, spill all your antifreeze or all your, coolant or your steering. The biggest thing I think of is always fluid. You lose all your power steering fluid. Now you're trying to scramble to find some, or you break a shock off or break a mount. Simple stuff can ruin your day. It doesn't have to be a motor, a transmission, or an axle shaft. It could be something as simple as losing all your fluid or breaking a steering line, smashing a reservoir or a cooler. Whether it be transmission or steering. There's simple things that can take your day out just as easy.
Yeah, like I've heard desert racers say, millions of dollars worth of equipment and preparation and an alternator was the, the thing that got
or the $3 bolt that holds the alternator on.
Right. Yeah. Oh, Rob
literally,
Reno.
I was literally in the process now of going through, and we took all the 3/4 inch bolts out, we're drilling and putting 1 inch bolts in for our Heims and
Yeah.
spacers in and new Heims, and kind of doing some general maintenance we've needed to upgrade for a while. And so it definitely makes things a lot smoother for the buggy, works a lot better. Plus having those 1 inch bolts is kind of in theory we'll never bend one or break one. So
yeah, that would be ideal.
I mean, if I'm breaking a 1 inch bolt, I probably have other issues.
Yeah. Oh man, Rob Reno's having a tough finish to this race, but he's still close.
He is, again, trying to keep it on all four wheels there.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's probably sustained some damage that's causing some performance issues.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Rob Reno. Yeah, unfortunately, the way the code works, we can't have the finish line be the same as the start line, so they got to remember to take that last one. It's
Okay.
not a bad run by Rob. 224 with 2 trail and 2 pit. That's
Not bad, man.
That's I salute that for sure. APC taking a bit of a tumble.
Yeah.
Gets her back on all four though.
Driver Tech in the live chat says, great race tonight. The track was absolutely brutal. Was brutal, but it was an absolute blast. So, shout out to Driver Tech. Again, it was a lot of fun, great win course. Glad everybody enjoyed it. Being a hard course, very brutal, very technical.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he had fun because he was one of the guys in the chat earlier who was like, I'm just rail wheeling tonight. But then he put on like the charge of a lifetime. So,
Yeah. Funny how that race pace sets in real quick.
Uh-huh. I used to do a lot of rally sim racing, and I remember I'd always tell myself that, like, oh, I'm just gonna go out, take it easy, and you end up starting out kind of slow, but then by the end of the stage, you're just going 120%, and it turns out to be your best run ever because you warmed up to it versus just starting at full send. But then it makes you think like, oh man, if I was going full send the whole time, I would have been 5 seconds faster.
Yeah, he's for real.
But I've never done well with the going full send right out of the gate. I just, that's racing, but kind of falling into the groove, warming up, and then coming into the race has always been my best tactic. Looks like SVT has taken some pretty good damage. Sometimes you'll see these guys going backwards across the line because the front end's so wacky that they have to drag it. So
Yeah.
it looks like he's definitely sustained some steering damage. Working that gas and brake to get it to turn. Reminds me of my old Ford Ranger. I just hold it to the floor and then pop the clutch when I wanted it to turn. And
Yeah.
you just gotta stab the brakes or something just to get it to bite for a split second. Let's see if SVT knows to take that inside line for the finish. And still an excellent time. 2:17.
Not bad at all.
1 trail, 2 pit. That's a good run. Nice
Yeah, 1
work.
trail, 2 pit is not bad.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys are all putting down some really good runs tonight. Looks like Lauren's not having much luck sawing on backdoor over here. He's wound up on a side, but if I know Lauren, he's probably limping some damage because he does not want to push that button. .7% fuel left. Probably not. That might get him to the finish line, depending on how hard he is on the throttle here.
Yeah.
Make short work of the launch pad. That's one spot where it's such a square edge at the top that you have to send it. There's no crawling over it. Yeah, I can tell by the way that car's turning right there. It doesn't look happy. Uh-oh, pirouette. Ooh.
Ouch.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not good.
That picked up speed real quick.
Yeah, probably the fastest way to the bottom of the hill. Unfortunately, he landed the wrong way, but looks like he's going to back up here until this 90-degree turn and get straightened out. One more little send uphill, and it's all downhill from here. See if he's playing it safe or going for the drop. Looks like he's taking the drop, but he's going to take it nice and easy. Oh yeah, plenty of fuel left. Man, if I see 0 repairs, then that'd be so cool. But that would be quite the accomplishment.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we have, Lauren? Ooh. 2 hours, 10 minutes, 43 seconds, 1 pit. So,
Ow.
first car was 0 trails. It looks like he did play it safe, ran a slower pace, no trail repairs, 1 pit, but still that backing off the pace, let those guys get away from him.
Yeah.
But still great effort by Lauren in that ultra bump because that's not even really an ultra 4 car. It's more of a vanilla mod, rock bouncer. Still a great car, but the durability on it's not quite what these other ones are, and then still getting it done, no trail. Nice work. Let's go see where is. I know APC is still out there. Where'd you go, APC? Hopefully we didn't lose him as well. And we lost Waffles. Says he's still on the server. I see him on the list. But I don't see. Oh, and Waffles is back. I'm guessing he did get disconnected, but he would have been able to put down a time. Tab around here so we can find APC. Oh, there he is. He's back at the line, shredded tire and all. Just like, looks like Shannon Campbell's BFG at the finish line in that one race.
Oh yeah, that was like 5, 6.
Yeah, maybe even longer.
Yeah, maybe longer.
LAPC 2 minutes 30. 2 hours, 32 minutes 6 seconds. 3 trail, 1 pit.
That's impressive.
Still all good runs. These guys are really putting down some speed out here. All right, looks like we still have Slinky Sam on course at server 2. It looks like in server 2 we have 2 finishers so far. Kyle with a 2 hours 19 minutes 28 seconds, 2 trail, 1 pit, another good time. Eric, he came in 2:49 with 4 pits, or 4 trail, 3 pits. Looks like fast paced. Just those trail repairs is brutal. And Alex, like he's getting close to the finish line.
Do we have all our finishers from the server 1?
Server 1 is done. We'll I'll pop over and see if so driver tech, he's the guy who puts in the times in server 1. So seeing how he's done, I bet they're starting to populate. So
okay,
we'll jump over and check on those and see what the standings are. And so far, Dustin Girding with that 159.
that's impressive.
And that's looking like the top spot so far, which that's going to do great things for his points, considering he qualified well and finished well. We did get Waffles' time in, which he was very fast, 2:04. See if I can pan over and see what he had for trail repairs. Oh, Waffles had 1 trail, 1 pit. Not too bad.
That's impressive, just because of the amount of damage the car takes, you know.
Yeah. So it looks like one of our Portuguese friends at the bottom of the list there, he finished with a 2:39, 0 trail, 0 pit.
Wow.
So hats off to him. So far,
0 trail, 0 pit.
Yep, that is an accomplishment.
That's impressive.
Did it in a bomber. And those bombers they're pretty durable, but they're known for having steering issues. And when that steering breaks, you're pretty much done. So
yeah,
he somehow held it together,
which is impressive.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I'd be proud of that. Server 1 done. Server 2. Looks like we're right there. If I'm using the right keyboard, I can get over there. On board Slinky Sam, he's the man behind all of this. The big kahuna was his kind of little brainchild he's been working on for probably like 3 or 4 months. He's been maybe even longer than that working on this grand finale course. One of the few people running that Bronco, mostly because it's just not super fast, but it is really fun to drive.
Which is always a good time.
Oh yeah. Sam's all the way out in Hawaii, and his internet usually suffers the most from everybody. So that's why we see his car bobbling around a little bit more than the rest.
Yeah, it's it'd be pretty rough to be in Hawaii right now.
I heard it's pretty crazy out there in general. Just like anything you want to ship out there, or just if you order something on the internet or send something in the mail, it's just crazy expensive to get anything on or off the islands.
I could only imagine.
One of my cousins who I used to work for is he's a general contractor for building and a land developer, and he wanted us to build him a 8,000 square foot house out there in Hawaii. And he's been, yeah, and he's been, I want to say like 3 years just in the engineering phases of it, because of all the volcanic seismic stuff out there. And then we figure when it does go, if it does go, it's going to take probably that long again just to build because of how difficult it is to get materials out there and things like that.
Yeah, I was looking at like barndominiums.
Right. I love those. I would live in a shop house so fast. I don't know.
They're incredible. They start out as being like a really inexpensive way to build a house and a shop and a storage area and a garage all in one. And they've taken because it became cool now. They've taken a massive jump to where they're basically like mansions with metal on the outside.
Right. Yeah, they've gotten so nice. A couple of my friends that have built those for themselves, and they built them really nice on the inside. Where the outside just looks like a pretty nice shop, but then when you get inside, all the money they saved on their square footage by going with such a large structure, they're able just to pump back into the trim package and the kitchens and all that stuff.
And they turn out incredible.
Yeah. Looks like Sam's struggling with backdoor a little bit in that Bronco. Wonder if so one thing about that Bronco is it has a really light front end. You can see now that his hood's fallen off how far back that engine is recessed into the chassis, which gives it great stability. But when you're trying to climb square edge breakovers, having that spare tire way back there, the fuel cell back there, definitely plays a role in getting that back end to follow the front end over. like he's gonna line up and try. I guess he's gonna stay on the right line, maybe. I always favored the left line. Back when I was racing, I had a line on that I'd set up, and you'd usually shoot right up it. But these are different cars. Come on, Slinky. Send
Getting
it.
close.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's frustrating.
Yeah.
Engine starved for oil. Yeah, you don't say.
Yeah. Yeah, when you try to shoot backdoor like that, you don't make it. It's going to be catastrophic.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to watch his throttle brake inputs here, because I know you got to get that front end up, get the momentum going, stab the brakes, get the front end back down, and then get back on the throttle.
Yeah.
No, denied. Looks like he's getting a little bit frustrated with it. So close though. Finish line is just over that little null. Normally in our race configurations, we have this trail to the right that is the backdoor bypass trail, which isn't easy by any means. And it does kind of have a square edge breakover in it, but it's not nearly as bad as backdoor. So we'd give that as an option, mostly for back when we had UTVs racing with us to give them a line, because the backdoor is almost impossible for those guys.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. And when the obstacle's, twice, 1.5 times taller than your car, it's not going to probably go well.
No, definitely not. One kid would actually go up in reverse because of the weight bias.
Yep.
So he would just turn around, hit it backwards, and it'd go up.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it works, it ain't, it's only stupid if it don't work,
Yeah. That's the thing about kids these days. You think you've scoped out every line on something, and then they'll just come up and run something that you didn't even see. And they're like, oh, I didn't even look at that line. Like, in no way ever should that line work, but it just did. Come on, Slinky, you can do it. Put it for low, curl it up there. So this car also has a suck down winch on it.
Okay.
It's one of the few that does.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like he's using it, where it could potentially come into play right here. And seeing how the front end is so light on this car, I believe is why the creator added that feature. Because normally it's something they only have on their competition rock crawler builds, but they threw it on this Ultra 4 car. And this particular vehicle, I think would make a really nice 4800 class car. Oh, get it. There he goes. All right. Slinky's up. The second waterfall to contend with. If you're familiar with Johnson Valley, you'll notice this second waterfall is about 2 to 3 times the size it is in real life. But we had to do that to make it a comparable difficulty, because people could just drive right up parts of that line that you would never do in real life. So we had to just emphasize it a little bit. Slinky Sam going up the launch pad. Make it. Home stretch, just got to keep it together. Sam's another good one about having very few repairs, but after that little breakdance session down there at backdoor, I have a feeling he's taking some damage. See if he's going to play it safe down the left or drop. Going for the drop. Seems like everybody does. It's definitely the fastest route.
Yeah. And again, from there, it's pretty much all downhill from there.
Yeah, looks like this shifts her into high range, the short course, and this will be it, folks. We have one more car on course, but I believe he still has a whole nother lap to go. So we're gonna call it a Sam. We're gonna call it a Sam right here when he crosses the line. As far as the broadcast goes tonight, no one gets left behind, but there's some people we got to get to bed because it's getting late. Almost 2.5 hours after the start of the race. Sleepy Sam crosses the line. 2:56. So 2 hours, 56 minutes, 26 seconds with a total of 4 trail repairs.
Wow. I mean, 4 still is not bad, though.
I would be hard pressed to do it unless that's less than 1 repair per lap. And, that's pretty good for this course. Hats off. Definitely nice run. Everybody, I'm very impressed. Everybody put down some great runs tonight. Not an easy course, not an easy simulator. These guys definitely pulled it all together, and great season. Big thanks to Dave Cole, Hammer King Production, Ultra Sim Racing for sponsoring the event and being the motivation behind this whole sport. And it's been a pleasure and a privilege. Had a ton of fun. Thank you, everybody. Matt, Caleb, and Chris for helping out with the broadcasting. You guys are awesome. It's just been a great season, and we're looking forward to where it goes from here.
Heck yeah, it was fun to do it, and I enjoyed it. Like I said, it was definitely not something I'm used to, but it was definitely fun, and I love the off-road aspect of it.
Yeah, it's a great time. And like I said, hopefully we'll get you on, get you racing here one of these days. If not at your own home, but down at Johnson Valley, KOH 2025.
Heck yeah.
All right, everybody, have a good night, and we'll see you at the next one.
We'll see you guys.
This week's Ultra Sim Racing.